You are about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Cheerios. Cheers as usual. Running like maniacs this morning, but we have a new setup, so hopefully camera isn't set up.
A lot of balls in the air.
Yeah,
A lot
but
of balls.
I don't know about a lot of balls. Lots of things in the air. But yeah, I mean, hopefully everything is working out. We got a new setup. And
I'm loving the screen.
Yeah.
So
we have to look at the camera though.
Yeah.
So the camera is here. I have a screen here that I'm running everything, and then obviously then there's the Apple computer. So the little people can watch.
and the mural.
And the mural, which is actually
backdrop,
oh yeah, I told him to kind of
is on the way, right?
Yeah, I think it's on the way. I mean, I didn't have a chance to check the chat this morning, but I believe
when is he picking it up?
Today.
Oh, he's picking it up today.
I think. Don't get too excited.
He should join us on the show.
I told him, but I don't know. I haven't had a chance to like check the chat, so I'm assuming.
So yeah, so those of you that don't know what we're talking about, I had a Monero mural painted like over 2 years ago now.
Yeah, at the Miami Shitcoin conference.
It was before Miami Monero. It was at the Shitcoin conference down the block from the Bitcoin conference. We did a Monerotopia episode there, and there were artists there painting murals, crypto related, and I commissioned an artist to make a Monerotopia themed mural, and they painted it in the background. And then we just never figured out how to get the thing home because it was so big. So it like sat in this artist's storage facility for a year.
Then we brought it out.
It's kind of part of the reason we did Monerotopia in Miami, because we were like, well, the mural's down there. It became the background for our event in Miami. But then after Miami, once again, we didn't know how to move it. So we had storage
in which we paid for many months.
And then last show, I put it out there. I was like, we got to get, we need somebody to help us move this mural. About to pay some private company to ship it. I'm like, unless somebody wants to do it for $1,000 worth of Monero. And sure enough, right after the show,
got a person.
Somebody hit us up. They said they love Monero. They own an orange Monero colored truck, and they are picking it up, and they're going to drive it to New York.
They're going to drive to New York.
Can't wait to meet the guy.
Oh, he wrote today at 11 o'clock, 100 miles out from Miami, but we can still. Oh, this is the person he's meeting up with. So he's almost in Miami.
Okay.
Kind of. He goes, yeah, today or tomorrow. So basically,
the Monero community, guys, we could do anything. Global network.
Oh my God.
Put it to work.
Put it to work. Pretty fun.
It's great. So nice.
Yeah, it is. But we have to look at the camera. I keep looking at the screen.
I know. That's what we got to
fix.
That's
the problem. Okay. So that's the next problem we're going to fix.
We got to figure out how to put the screen, obviously, in front, but we haven't really figured that out.
Well, we can, but then I will be hidden because I'm short.
Yeah. Okay. So what else we got? Anybody who's listening in the chat? What happened to we had some guests in here. Everybody ditched. They didn't like our story.
Like, enough with that mural.
Get the word out. We have Anon Shop today as a special guest. Please tweet it out, share it. He'll be jumping on soon. If you're not familiar with Anon Shop, you will be by the end of the show.
Fun times. But yeah, I guess, do you want to talk about the conference?
Yeah, let's quickly have our weekly update.
Yep, there you go. So if you haven't bought your tickets yet, please do so now. Monerotopia23 is in Mexico City, which I'm sure everyone has heard, but we're going to say it again. A week of May 5th to the 7th in Mexico City. We're going to have a welcome party on the 5th. and
Cinco de Mayo.
on Cinco de Mayo.
People
I know, but
we know, but it happens to be on
Cinco de Mayo weekend.
It's
So
on Cinco de Mayo, so we're calling.
So we're gonna do like a nice little welcome party, check-in process on the 5th, and then talks and lots of talks 6th and 7th. So
lots of talks.
Lots of talks.
We got to figure it out. So we're gonna have the privacy loft. That's where these other privacy tech projects are going to be. So we have Xano, we have Firo, we have who else we got?
We got Nim.
Particle, we have
Nim. Yep.
We have Session.
We have Session, Oxen. Session, yep.
I mean, this is amazing. This is fantastic. So
they're
going to be there. They're going to give talks on each of those projects will give a talk on the second day. Some of them are will be part of other panels. So that's very cool. That's going to be the privacy loft, and they'll be hanging, stationed there so people can go and interact with them. Although I don't know if they're going to want to sit there the whole time, but
probably not. I know usually when they're like, do we have to sit there all day long?
It's not like this huge, vast conference, guys. This isn't like, thousands of people. So everybody's going to be interacting the entire time. All the talks are going to take place in the dome, and we have a ton of speakers. We didn't put them all up yet. They're slowly more like just finalizing details. What else? Oh, and then we're adding the
entrance
adoption alley.
The adoption alley. We're going to call it.
In addition to the privacy loft and the speaker dome, there's going to be adoption alley, where we're going to showcase projects that are leading to increased Monero adoption. Like the wallets, CakeWallet, Monero, because everybody's kind of participating in different ways. So we want to showcase people in different ways. Maybe we'd have Anon Shop down there if they're going to come, for example. So anybody that's doing anything Monero related, that's helping build out the adoption of Monero, the actual use of Monero, like Monero marketplaces, things like that. So we want to showcase coin cards, for example, right? We want to showcase them. They were a sponsor for our first Monerotopia, so we want to showcase them there. And then we're going to have a Monero marketplace. Hopefully that all comes together. I guess they'll be part of Adoption Alley, where we'll have actual local vendors, Mexican vendors accepting Monero for the things they'll be selling. That's it. So buy your tickets.
Buy your tickets today. General admission is still at $99, but we had to bring up the VIP tickets because it's filling up. And
everybody's buying the VIP, which is awesome.
It, which is great.
But we don't have room at the restaurant.
So we're capping it soon. So
there's like only a few of those left.
Yeah, so we had to up the price.
Everybody else has to buy the general.
So sorry for those that haven't bought it.
I get it though, because if you're gonna go down there, it's like, why not?
Might as well just hang with the crowd.
Because the speaker dinner is gonna be very cool.
Yeah. And then we also have the $25 local 500 pesos, I think it is. You said.
Yeah, 500 pesos. Depending on the day, but yeah, it's $25. That's for anybody living locally.
Mexico City, Mexico.
We haven't figured out where the welcome party will be yet.
Lots of things to figure out, guys. Yeah, and anyone that's interested in helping us out, please reach out.
I was just reading an article today. There's the Bitcoin Embassy Bar in Mexico City, and that's what the Decred guy was telling us. He knows them. So maybe we would do the welcome party there. Like maybe that makes sense.
Maybe.
We want to try to team up with them because maybe they could help get the word out locally, right? Anybody that's into crypto that lives locally in Mexico City, I would think would know about the Bitcoin Embassy Bar. And I think I was just reading about today, they have like a big screen in there that shows, it's not just, obviously it's Bitcoin primarily, but I think they show like all the different cryptos on a big screen, like what they're, so they're trying to be open to other cryptos as well. So we want to we should put our posters up over there.
Yeah.
We should contact them. Maybe they can help us get the word out locally.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
And maybe we'll do the welcome. I doubt we'll do it there though, right? Better, I don't know.
Well, we'll see. I guess we wanted to.
Beer. I think just like
it's a beer. Yeah. Actually, it's just like a little mini like beer garden thing.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But the suspense, guys. The suspense. But yeah, if you haven't bought your tickets yet,
did they add the logos of the projects yet?
Not yet. No.
Okay. He's
working on it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot to juggle, but it'll be on.
Voting's been helping us out in a very big way with all of this. I don't think he realized what he was in for when he said he'd help out with the website. And initially, the first day, he built an initial version, which is great. And then we're like, all right, well, there's going to be lots of little changes.
I know,
along
lots
the way.
of little changes.
Yeah, no problem. But I don't think you realize it.
Yeah, we change a lot because like
there's
ideas
a lot
come every day.
The conference, it's constantly evolving. People think it's like, oh, so you're done like Oregon? Like it never ends.
No, it never ends. Never ends. The day of.
And it gets exponentially more difficult as you go because you're just dealing with more people as you go, and it's very hard to manage all the conversations. Like you're having personal conversations with all the different speakers to make sure they're good to go, and it adds up.
It does. But we're chugging through. We did it last year. We'll do it again. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk to. Yeah, that's why I had it there. Okay. I was just waiting for you to finish your rant, because I don't want to be disrespectful. But yeah, for those that don't know, we have hotel accommodations. Like these are just suggestions on on hotels that you can stay at around the area. We checked a few of them out. So, we're just giving you our opinion,
These are all within walking distance.
Yeah, some not too far. Literally 10-minute walk. There are a few that are 3 minutes, 7.
Did he rearrange them?
I believe so, yeah. So, yeah, some are affordable.
He did not. So it should be
the
Hotel Casablanca
is the most affordable one.
Is the most affordable, and it's right down the block.
Yeah, it's not too far. Yeah, updated.
Wow.
It will.
But so the Hotel Casablanca is the one that's closest because people are going to go to this and they're going to see that you click on the first one and it costs $250 to stay there.
Mm-hmm. Well, they're 1 through 5. They'll probably go through all of them and then select
so
which
we'll
one
rearrange them because the Hotel Casablanca is like $50 a night.
Yeah, it's affordable, and it's a nice hotel.
It is nice. Yeah. And Hotel Lisboa is also like $50 a night. It's like a 7-minute walk as opposed to a 3-minute walk, and also probably even nicer than Casablanca a little bit, bigger. And then these other ones, the Ignacia, the Zoma Boutique, and the hotel, they're all boutique hotels. It's like super nice, like $200.
So if you want to be
fancy, if you were staying in Miami, it would cost, I don't know, like $500, $600 a night for that. But it's like if you want to stay somewhere nice, and it's like nice boutique hotels, so you could spend $50 a night, or you could spend $200 a night.
Yeah, depending how fancy you want to be. I mean, they're all nice though. Yeah. Like even the cheap one, we walked in and the rooms were not, they were small.
Right. That's why that needs, it's essential that gets changed.
Check out Hotel Casablanca if you want to stay at a not so expensive hotel, but cute. So yeah, so they're all, it's all the way at the bottom of the page. Check them out whenever you have a chance. Unless you found a place. There are also Airbnbs. We're going to be staying at an Airbnb nearby. But yeah, we just wanted to give you guys a few hotels so you guys can check them out and figure out if you want to stay there. Other than that, I guess we'll just finish off with saying that if you're looking to be a speaker, sponsor, media partner, or vendor, just get in touch with us. Email us at monerotopia@protonmail.com. Yeah, and also if you want to volunteer, help out, the more the merrier. We can get all the help we can get. Please email us if you can. I guess other than that, well, I guess we can just you have anything else?
No, yeah, I'm literally just messaging the guys to make sure they change that on the website right now.
Yeah,
because I just don't want people to they'll scroll down and they'll click, they'll see $200 a night,
and they'll freak out. But then they're they'll click
through. To Mexico City? I thought it was
but then they'll continue to click on the other ones. No, there are 5 people. I don't think you like options.
Human nature.
No, but people also like options.
Function in this day and age.
But anyways, yeah, check out all the links, please, guys. All the links, so Doug doesn't get that upset. But I guess other than that, if you have anything else that you want to say, we'll move on to the price report. Oakley dokley, my friends.
Let's do it.
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Local Monero. Avoid using KYC exchanges. Buy and sell Monero directly for fiat, peer-to-peer. Aloha, body.
Good morning.
Buddy, what's going on, man?
Good morning, my friend.
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias.
I'm practicing.
Okay. Ooh. How's it going?
Yeah, that's good.
Good.
Relaxing, lovely Saturday morning.
Yes, I can hear it in the background.
What's the weather like down there?
It's always beautiful weather here. It's been 70 degrees for like the last 2 months.
Wow.
I don't know what we're doing in New York. I mean, I've been saying that forever.
I know.
Well, that's the other thing. We're talking to I think what's the guy's name? Jellyfish.
Jellyfish, yeah,
Jellyfish. And he is basically a real estate developer, and he's developing properties in Mexico, and he's selling them for Monero.
Oh wow!
So yeah, we'll have him on, and we're trying to get him to come to the conference. He probably most likely will. He'll be part of Adoption Alley.
Adoption Alley, which Doug just figured out last night.
Man, that's awesome.
I mean, that was like kind of a dream come
down here.
Yeah, that was a dream come true for me. Yeah, you don't own a place down there. You're renting.
Yeah, I'm renting an apartment for now.
But I mean, geez, use Monero. I mean,
yeah, if I could pay in Monero, that would be amazing.
Yeah,
right. Very enticing. And we had a nice conversation with them. I mean, obviously, I can't really vouch for the guy, but he seemed like very genuine and like he knew what he was talking about, and he was explaining they basically make it very simple for you as well, right? He was basically saying it's effectively simpler or easier with crypto to do the closeout, do the transaction. He's basically saying you need to create a corporation as a foreign national is the easiest way, and then you purchase the land under that, and then it's much easier to just finalize the deal with a crypto transaction, and note that in a contract versus using the bank. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Looking forward to it.
But
yeah,
take it away.
Take it away, my friend.
All right. Well, the big news for the past week was the Federal Reserve meeting. On Wednesday, they raised 25 basis points, which is exactly what everyone expected. And with these meetings, we usually know what they're going to raise. So the more important thing is what they talk about. So Jay Powell didn't stand in the way. He removed all of the severe language about COVID and the geopolitical this and that. And so once he started asking questions, I was kind of sitting there. So I told you guys last week I took some profit. A big part of that was just to limit my risk going into this meeting. And within about a minute or two of him starting to answer questions, I just smashed the market buy button on everything. I just nope, this is good. He's not going to stand in the way of the markets, and we should go up from here. So I tweeted about that a little bit. Oh, I always forget this part. If you're on Twitter Spaces, I definitely recommend getting on YouTube. Set your resolution to 720p so that you can follow along with the charts. So yeah, they weren't dovish in this meeting, but the important thing is he wasn't hawkish, and they didn't increase their long-term target rate. There had been some rumors, some Fed presidents had talked about that a couple weeks ago. Maybe they need to go higher than they thought, but they didn't talk about that at all. So the markets loved it. He just didn't get in the way, and so we'll talk about stock markets later, but they took off. Crypto is still just a little bit behind in that regard, but not too bad. Monero, we'll start with Monero. So we're looking here at the daily chart. This is basically the entire bear market. We've broken the main resistance, and then we're still sitting here at the final boss resistance. I do expect that this will break soon enough, and in a lot of ways I feel like we could have maybe already broken it. You can see that we have kind of this nice trend line down here at the bottom that we've just been going up steadily. That should hold. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. Maybe we need to spend a little bit more time, but this bear market resistance line is eventually going to break. So that'll be nice. That'll send us off to the races. And yeah, probably a lot of people have noticed that the ratio is not back as high as we would prefer it maybe. But we're at 007 numbers, and just so that people have a good perspective, it's been over 3 years, and we've been stable with Bitcoin. That's 1,300 bars, right? So really going on 4 years almost. So overall, you wouldn't be able to paint the picture and say that Monero is losing to anything else, regardless of Tether or what the market makers or people that might pump the market, etc. Regardless of what they're doing, we're holding our own. And that's remarkable. It's remarkable because Monero doesn't get the kind of support that a lot of other coins do. So the fact that we hold our own for 3 going on 4 years, that's a really big deal to me. So we're basically just hanging out at these 007 numbers. let's see if I can, let's turn off some of the lifetime. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is our local structure for the past year, really. And we've kind of broken down from that. And as we've talked about before, rising wedges tend to break towards the downside. We were hoping that we might be able to break towards the upside, but recognizing that we were probably near the bottom, that we were going to have a turnaround and a broad pump of crypto and stocks, we talked about how we would probably need to go sideways for a period of time this year. So this is nothing unexpected. Everything's totally fine here. We can probably just keep doing this, and eventually later this year we'll have the opportunity to try and break out again. I have the divergences for anyone that's interested in divergences. So you can see that as of late, we've kind of been on the negative side of this. Binance, KuCoin, and all these others, they've been pushing their prices lower than Kraken. So this was something I was a little bit concerned about. We talked about this a week or two ago, that they had spent so much time in positive divergences. I was wondering if that might reverse, if they might try and sell some of that back on the market. And I think that's basically what happened. I'm pretty sure they're getting close to being out. So right now we're looking at a 4-hour look back period, right? So this is sort of a rolling 4-hour price divergences of Monero on these different exchanges relative to Kraken. This is the 10-day look back time frame. So it gives us a much broader picture of what's happening. And it's really easy to see here that since right around the New Year's, Binance, in particular Binance, right, they're the largest exchange, so they're most important. You can see that they've basically been in positive price divergences the entire time. And this last little bit right here where they're getting back to the 0 point, in reality, on the short time frames, that's them diverging prices to the downside. So it looks to me like they're almost out of their ability to try and sell any excess Monero onto the market. And so because of that, I do think we're pretty close to a local low on the ratio. And I do think that Monero should start going up with the rest of the crypto market now. We've talked about this before. It's this induced volatility. I think it's just a psychological game, you know, this kind of vertical nature. And when they're acquiring Monero on top of the organic purchasing, that's when we sort of leave the underlying trend line down here, go vertical for a little bit. We get this induced volatility, and that's just the game. If you're going to trade Monero, you just have to be aware that that's happening, and you really can take advantage of that sometimes. I'm always afraid that at some point Monero is just going to jump to the upside, and I'm afraid of missing out. So one thing I wanted to show you guys was the fractal. So I'm sure everyone remembers this big fractal here, which came from this time frame. Basically, this fractal is invalidated now. There's no way to say that this is going to continue, that we're going to suddenly jump to the upside. I do think that there's possibility that Monero does diverge at some point, and I think some kind of fundamental event will have to drive that. It could be the release of the Gox coin, something like that, right? Where a bunch of Gox payees get coin they haven't had for 7 to 8 years. Most of them, it seems, are on Kraken. They're going to get their payouts and Bitcoin on Kraken, which for the most part lists Monero. And it only takes a small amount of that Bitcoin converting into Monero to cause some pretty big price movements. So there is the real possibility that at some point Monero's ratio does break out significantly. So we have the overall Monero dominance. This is not a happy chart. You know, it kind of came up here and then we're already falling back down. This is, of course, the leveraging up of all the crypto prices in general. So when we're comparing just against Bitcoin, Monero is relatively doing well, holding steady. And while we have been doing well for the past year on Monero's dominance across the board, we are taking a pullback now as people are jumping into their shitcoins or their altcoins. Not all altcoins are shitcoins, despite what maybe some maximalists might have told you. But this is just, we're just going to have to accept that this thing is not going to take off to the upside anytime soon. But, you know, that's why, I mean, I hodl Monero. I don't really trade Monero. I play in the altcoins game to try and get some of those crazy mad gains. Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit. Let's go to the macro. Some interesting things happened with specifically the dollar index. Now, I want to correct something that it's not exactly a mistake, but it might be a mistake that I made. So this is the dollar index on the weekly time frame. And if we click the logarithmic button down here, this is how my chart was last week. And this is how I had this line drawn. So you can see that I was connecting this point, and that point. So this is a very long time frame. And essentially, I was saying that we're very close to support down here, but I didn't realize that I had this logarithmic scale clicked. When we're talking about something like the dollar index, it's not an asset like Monero or the stock market that has a price against US dollars. It's not subject to the sort of exponential process of the printing of money and M2 and all that. So for charts like the dollar index, which are relatively range bound, you really want to look at these guys in a regular scale, not a logarithmic. So I had made a little bit of a mistake last week. I didn't realize I was in log scale. I think I have like an automatic one of these buttons up here. When I click it, it sends me to logarithmic. So I kind of need to reprogram one of those to avoid that problem. At any rate, this is the big picture dollar index. This was obviously the bull market where they printed a whole bunch of M2, 25% in a single year during 2020. So that's why the dollar index just really broke down there, and that drove the bull market in a lot of assets. So basically, we topped out and we've been on our way down. Now, the thing that was interesting was the past couple days of action. The dollar index was rising while the stock market was also rising. Do I have the stock market here? Huh. Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so you can see the stock market. This is the S&P right here. For the past week, like the S&P has just been going crazy, right? It's just really broke out of its large structure here. This is the weekly chart, so you can see that we now have 2 weekly closes above the main bear market resistance. So effectively, this is confirming that the S&P has broken out. Now, the thing that was interesting is that this right here, the stock market was going up while the dollar index was also going up. And that's not too common. That happened in 2021 near the top of the market in the fall, October, November, where the dollar index was going up and stocks and crypto were also going up. So in a lot of ways, this is kind of a good thing. I was a bit concerned that we were getting too close to this lower resistance down here. So this line, this is that big line that we were looking at on the weekly time frame, right, where it's like a decades-long trend line. So getting very close to that was making me a bit concerned for how far this sort of mini bull market could go, this miniature bull market. So with the dollar index jumping like that, it does give more room potentially to come to the top of this line and then find its way down and then ultimately find some support down there. And that would be one among many signs that we might be looking at to try and determine when it's time to get out of this big movement to the upside. Because I do think that the markets are probably going to have to contend with maybe not the absolute lows, but something close to it. I think later this year, with interest rates staying high, that's going to weigh on the market eventually. And at minimum, we're going to have to test those lows or somewhere close to it. So for the meantime, it's kind of nice to see that the dollar index took a big jump. That I'm assuming was driven by the fact that the Federal Reserve is raising rates. They're still raising rates, although they are getting pretty close to their long-term targets. Okay, so we've got the reverse repos. And again, this is money parked overnight with the Federal Reserve, institutional money. It's basically dry powder that they could redeploy to other places. One thing I realized this week, this could be, the fact that this went up so much, it could have been a place for institutions to ride out the rising interest rate environment. The thing is, you don't want to hold, say, a 30-year or 10-year bond that's yielding a low rate in a rising interest rate environment, because the new bonds being issued are going to be significantly more valuable than the bond that you're holding. So I think this is a factor that drives the yield curve inversion. Essentially, people get out of their long-term bonds expecting that those rates are going to rise, and they don't want to get trapped in a bond that's yielding low, that has some long maturity length. So they go to the shorter term bonds. They sell their longer term bonds, which sort of forces the yield curve to invert. At any rate, with the reverse repos, this is exactly what we've been expecting. We're still trending towards the downside. You can see that the Bollinger Bands, the standard deviation bands, is already curling under. So the distance between the top and the bottom is expanding. So usually when you have a compression of the volatility like this and some time frame of being range bound, when you start to trend and you start to see the expansion of these bands, that typically indicates that you're starting to trend. So we're at the very beginning of what looks like a new trend in the reverse repos. We should expect that this should come down to this broadening structure and hopefully at some point break down. The breakdown of this structure would be a really nice signal that we are in fact going to go on a long sustained run. So one thing that kind of worried me with the action after the Federal Reserve on Wednesday was how quickly the markets pumped. Let's go ahead and go to crypto. Yeah, so the markets went, this is total. The markets went from down here and just pumped straight to the top. And I guess that was okay. That definitely was to be expected. I was part of that, right? I was smashing the market buy button myself. So we haven't really broken out of the top here. There was some other ways you could have drawn these lines where it did look a bit like we were breaking out, but then we came kind of back down. So for example, we could draw the line right here and then say, okay, that was almost a breakout, and then it really looked like we were about to break out. It still kind of does look like we're about to break out. We're basically kind of riding the top of that line there. So overall, everything still looks really good, including Monero. I do expect that Monero is going to be going along with the gains with everything else, despite the short-term consternation people might feel from watching some of these shitcoins just pump massively. But yeah, and a lot of times they go up, they come right back down. So you just got to know that that's part of the game and not let it bother you. All right, this is Bitcoin.
What are the big altcoin pumps we're seeing these days? Like, what's kind of like the hot alts these days?
Hex is probably pumping more than anything else. Yeah, I know. I wasn't sure if I should say that on your show. But yeah, so Hex here is in purple. This is the Z-scores, so we can see how everything's performing relative to its normal volatility. So Monero here is in the burnt orange, and despite doing very well for a long period of time during the bear market, Monero is now kind of down. It's not doing as well as some of the other coins.
Yeah,
you can see Litecoin in blue.
Coin. Okay.
What's that?
It's not a meme pump coin, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Dogecoin is in yellow. We can see that guy pumped pretty big earlier this week. Hex is in purple. Litecoin is in blue. Those seem to be the top performers, although I don't have every coin on here. I believe AVAX. AVAX is one that's also been doing really well. Overall, I do like the Ethereum chart better than I like the Bitcoin chart, and I like it better than I like the total chart as well.
Oh, wow.
So I do think that Ethereum is going to perform better than Bitcoin overall. Let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin dominance, in fact. So we'll go to the weekly time frame so we can get our bearings. This is another chart that you want to make sure, see there I am in logarithmic. You want to make sure you're in regular scale. Okay, so this is kind of very long-term Bitcoin dominance. And at this point, Bitcoin dominance is probably never going to get above 50% again. I don't think that it will. It's been here for a year and a half, and it's just trending in this area. So basically, like we talked about, you know, if they want to convince the market that it's game on, they'll tend to pump the Bitcoin dominance. But then as soon as people are convinced, they YOLO into all of their altcoins. So you can see that basically from Wednesday, Bitcoin dominance just dumped down because, again, the Fed's not in the way. The crypto ecosystem in general understands now that the macro is very important, that the Fed drives everything, and that we're correlated to stocks. So being confident that the game was back on, people rushed into their shitcoins and Bitcoin dominance took a hit. So interesting dynamics. I think it's fun. Definitely a good way to make some money. I do feel like I can kind of justify it because I have a big hodl in Monero. Like it really is, it should be about digital freedom money. That should be the most important aspect of this. But I just can't watch all these other crazy madness go on and then not participate a little bit in it when you can see that there's just like gains to be had. And then I can roll that into Monero. So yeah, overall, everything still looks pretty good. Oh, let's take a look at a little bit more of a long-term resistance. Okay, so this line right here is this line right there. We should probably expect that that would pose some resistance. That's a very big line. We're also getting close to that August top right there. So we kind of like just barely broken above before the crash for FTX. So everything still looks nice. I would expect to keep trending here. Perhaps we might do something like that and then break. But ultimately, I think we should expect this final boss resistance line on total to eventually break. Other than that, everything's just kind of steady as she goes. There's going to be volatility. Oh, let's see. So this is the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ really just smashed through all of its resistance. This was kind of like a zone of resistance. If you remember a couple weeks ago, we talked about how you want to sort of draw two lines here because both of these lines are kind of valid. You could really think of either of them as being valid. So one thing that I looked at pretty recently was to take the NASDAQ, divide it by the S&P. So this is how well the NASDAQ is doing relative to the S&P. And we could like draw some trend lines here. I guess I had it wrong the other day when I was talking about how the S&P might outperform the NASDAQ, how that could continue. Nope, I was 100% wrong. The NASDAQ has just done really well here. So again, that's kind of another signal that it's game on. If you want to be participating in the altcoin madness, it's really not a bad time to be trying to pick up some positions. You can try and trade that stuff. It feels like things are starting to feel a bit crazy. You want to have a hodl stack, and if you must trade, keep a hodl stack and then put some other portion specifically for trading, because sometimes these coins will just go on massive runs and you just don't expect it. It might do a 50%, 100%. You're like, oh, cool, I've got some gains, and then you sell, and then it does like another 100%. So keep your trading stack, keep it separate from your hodl stack, and yeah, hopefully we should all be getting some good gains, including Monero, going into the near future here.
All right. Don't sell your hex just yet.
It actually pumped crazy this morning. It went up like 33% yesterday, and then it went up another 30% overnight. So I'm not recommending that necessarily, but it does do some pretty big gains sometimes. So
where do you think hex is going? Like, does the scan? When does it all? The house of cards come falling down with hex?
Well, the founder has quite a lot of money that he took in. Sorry, excuse me. I think that it can go for quite a while. So the thing is, so they airdropped Bitcoin holders and only Bitcoin holders. If you were holding in I think it was November 2019, you could free claim. And he also took in a lot of Ethereum. So if y'all remember, EOS had this thing where the money they took in on Ethereum that's how they launched EOS originally. It looked like they recycled that money into EOS, and so they were using that Ethereum to buy more EOS to pump the price. So it seemed like, now, particularly in the case of Hex, it doesn't seem like that happened. Like the chain analysis wouldn't suggest that, but there's ways of getting around that. I mean, come on. In fact, it was him that turned me on to Monero. I won't say who it is, but the guy that coin was turned me on to Monero originally. So
yeah, he used to talk about it quite a bit.
Yeah.
We could say his name. I'd love to have him on Monero.
Oh, okay.
I'd love to.
Yeah, Richard Hart. A lot of people used to love him. He was a maximalist back in the day. I
Yeah.
personally have learned a lot from him. I think he had really good perspective in a lot of ways.
He's a very intelligent guy, super super sharp, and he just figured out how to, essentially create a fucking scam coin using his intelligence. I mean, he understands people. He understood the meme thing kind of before anybody like really understood it. The whole pumpamentals thing.
Yeah.
Really kind of
Yeah,
like
he made that word.
yeah, yeah, and he figured out how to game society with it. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, he had the best performing coin last bull market. I think maybe Shiba outperformed it for a period of time. But it does look to me like this thing has legs and it could keep going. There's like a huge community of people. He's taken in a lot of money for the new project that he's launching. So hypothetically, that cash or that crypto could be used to continue supporting price. Maybe he's not. Who knows? It could just be like look at Dogecoin, right? It has this meme potential and people just love it and they just pile into it and it has these crazy gains. So, all I could do is speculate and say that maybe Richard is using that money to pump Hex. But as far as I understand it, the chain analysis wouldn't suggest that. There's ways of getting around that, obviously, like Monero. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's worth a YOLO there. Don't get too caught up into it. Take your profits. Be happy for your gains, stuff like that. Obviously, I don't want to promote that.
Yeah, I'm not touching that. I just wouldn't want to perpetuate that project in any way.
The problem is I don't see a big difference between that and all the other crap that I see out there. Like,
right.
It's all the same to me.
Yeah, well, most of it is. Yeah, 99%.
But at any rate, Monero's looking good. Keep your bags,
Keep your bags.
Pray to the crypto gods.
How's do you keep an eye on Xano at all? They're going to be down at the conference. They're like extremely small cap. Curious if they're
Xano. Is that the right way to spell it?
Zano.
Xano. I don't think I've ever heard of Xano.
Xano.
Okay, yeah. The Andre is going to be a speaker. He's the guy who wrote the first implementation of CryptoNote.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
It's Zano.
We've had him on Monerotopia recently, but we had a great interview with him.
I remember that actually
3 years ago now.
Yeah, but we recently had him on too.
And then we recently had him
with,
on.
Mind Your Biz or
but
something.
he's a wealth of historical CryptoNote knowledge. I mean, he claims to be in direct communication with Nicholas Van Saberhagen.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's cool.
And he said he might be even lurking at the conference.
Oh, snap.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah. Doesn't he pop up?
No, I've got Xano typed in here to the symbol search, but Xano USD, it's not popping up. Maybe USDT.
It's on Coin Market Cap.
Oh, here we go. No, that's Zen.
ZANO.
It's Zano.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up.
That's weird.
Up
So,
here.
like, it's been around for a while?
Xano itself?
Yeah.
I don't know how long. No, I think it was a fork of something else. It changed its name. Oh, what happened? We lost
We
it.
lost you.
Nope, sorry.
But it's interesting what they're doing technically. He's trying to move to proof of stake. We'll probably that'll probably be something we have him talking about. Maybe we'll do a panel on proof of work versus proof of stake.
Yeah, I remember he was on the Spaces pretty recently.
Yeah. Sunita, you found it.
Yeah. Oh, share it here.
Body can analyze from what you're bringing up. I mean, it's just such a small cap thing.
Is there anything here? Just can you see? Yeah.
Am I spelling that right?
It's Z.
Xano. Yeah.
You see?
ZANO. Yeah, I just brought it up.
Let's go to the
What is that market cap?
click on the all for the chart there.
Here? Okay.
So if you scroll some down. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. All the way down.
No.
Okay.
Oh.
He wants to see the chart.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that looks like
Click
a
that
crypto
all?
chart, all right.
Yeah. Typical pumping up now.
They're looking, I mean, it's good if we could be in log scale. I don't know if they, yeah, click the log button at the top right.
But they obviously have an we invited them there because of the tech. I mean, they're doing interesting things. It's not like they're just some copycat project. They're inventing new tech.
That
And
is cool to see
Andre
a
is
privacy
great.
project going proof of stake. I
Yeah.
personally don't have anything necessarily against proof of stake. I have a few objections, but I remember he addressed those. He said they started at proof of work and then they transitioned to proof of stake.
Yeah.
Although it causes a lot of consternation in the community. People, for whatever, they hear proof of stake and they're like, no, impossible.
Yeah. We'll definitely have that debate at Monerotopia.
The chart looks good. Looks like they're on their way up. Looks like they very easily could have bottomed. So
interesting, and it's very low cap, right? So a move, I don't even know where you buy, like what platforms it's on. I don't think it's listed in many places.
Yeah, I couldn't even find it on TradingView there. Low cap coins have the highest potential to make huge gains.
So right, that's the thing. That's all. That's the
might
thing.
Be worth a YOLO.
If you're into trying to find the next big pump. All right, man.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we'll see. Hang around if you can. We're gonna, if you could jump in the spaces. If
cool.
Not,
I may or may not be able to hang out today.
All right, buddy.
I may or may not. No worries. Thank you for joining us. Now
we'll be in touch.
All right, guys.
All right. Thanks.
Oh wait, Bawdy. One thing. Are you going to be at Anarchapulco?
Oh yeah, I meant to ask.
Oh yeah. I'm going tomorrow actually.
Oh shit.
Ooh.
Okay.
Fun times.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have our friend over there, Neil. I had told you about.
Yeah, Neil's gonna
be coffee station.
Running a table over there. So
stop by.
I'll grab his contact information from you guys, and I wanted to help out whatever the Monerotopia stuff was going on.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're going to be printing out little flyers or whatever, little cards.
To get the word out on Monerotopia.
To get the words out.
We put like a special offer, I think 20% off if they use the redeem.
Yeah, if they're doing comb.
Cool. Yeah, I still have my swag from the last one.
Okay, nice. Yeah, walking around. Oh, the glasses and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, just follow the delicious smelling coffee, and you'll find him.
You're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, I think he gets there tomorrow morning, so I think all's all right. Saturday,
yeah.
You can hop along there.
All right, man.
All righty. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, have a safe flight.
Safe flight. Cheers.
Will do.
Adios. Awesome. Okay, let's move on to the news segment with Tony, my friends. And now for our weekly news segment.
Poker right now, wouldn't that be great?
Yes. Nice warm weather. Hello, Tony.
Hey, guys.
How's it going,
What's up, Tony?
I just came back from Miami Hack Week, and when I said that I just came back,
I think you just came back.
I just came back. Like I didn't sleep at all.
You're insane. Why do you always do that? I think you did that for the conference too. I remember you're like, I have to work in the morning. And we were hanging out outside after cleaning up, and he went straight to work, I think, the next day.
Tony, you're an animal.
You are an animal.
Well, oh my God. Honestly, life-changing. Honestly, life-changing. No, honestly, it was incredible. My voice went down a couple bases.
Yeah,
we can see that
because you were talking so much, I guess, right?
Oh my God, and it was so loud. And yesterday we displayed the projects, which I'm gonna show you because it's kind of more Monero related a little bit. Well, I made it Monero related. And then we celebrated, we partied, and then I came back a couple hours ago. And
you're gonna go take a nice nap after this, obviously, right?
Well, I'll see, because I'm feeling okay. But overall, a really cool conference. Everybody's into hacking AI, whatever. And then I was asking them, do you know Monero? And most of them do know Monero. Not a lot of people know about the conference. So then I told them, oh, Monero Talk, Monerotopia, you should come. And some people are interested. And oh my God. So I was giving away Monero to people. And then I posted on Twitter. And one guy said, hey, can you send me some too? I sent him some. Second guy, third guy, fourth guy, fifth guy, and it turned into a giveaway. And I was like, okay.
That's hilarious.
And then one more thing, and then we'll actually get into the news because it's pretty funny. Somehow I got into a boat in Miami with people from Wall Street, and crazy, right?
This is a boating accident.
This is a boating accident.
Boating accident. Well, people were, they were drinking and they're almost falling. So yeah, boating accidents. One guy from Wall Street, knows about Monero. Another guy I was talking, some crazy business, and then I said, "Do you know Monero?" He said, "Yeah, of course. I really love Monero." And then I said, "Oh, I'll send you something CakeWallet." And he said, "I love CakeWallet. I'm using CakePay. I'm using CakeWallet." So
Beautiful.
Awesome.
really amazing, really amazing.
Spread the Monero word. Good job.
Were you giving out your referral code, Tony?
Tony.
Well,
Tony for tickets?
Tony for tickets.
it's pretty cool that I have my own code. I tried, and I got people's contact. So
Oh, we
but
did. Let's see. Yeah.
we built. Let me show you. Okay, so this thing, it's like it's using ChatGPT, which we'll talk about, and it's making a video based story. So I said, okay, story about Monero conference that will happen in Mexico with Doug and Sunita, and it's making it kind of horror. So Doug and Sunita were attending the Monero conference in
What
Mexico.
is this?
There was a well-attended event, but something fell off. A monster growl. The sky was dark and oppressive.
What is this?
I don't know. And then it makes images and it actually makes like a video. So
Wait, what is this? I'm sorry.
He's using an AI. They
Oh.
built this. Yeah.
Oh, that's
someone built
hilarious.
this in a week.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
And then someone made an AI mayor for Miami. This is completely generated. This guy does not exist. He even has a voice.
That's crazy.
And
That's creepy.
And he's probably better than most politicians we currently have in office.
well, I got hashtag incorporate Monero from him because I asked him about Monero and CakeWallet.
Got my vote. Yeah,
Should
you
Monero power
asked.
the economy? Yeah. And he said, thanks for your suggestion. I'm interested in exploring how Monero could potentially benefit Miami. And then I asked him about CakeWallet, but I can't see. And
So
then it said,
you could keep having a convo with him there about Monero.
yeah, you can. Yeah,
he's
guys.
He's auto replying to everything.
In the beginning, he was talking to himself, but now it's better. But if you tweet at him and ask him any question you want, like how is the Monerotopia conference gonna be, or whatever, he's gonna answer. So,
awesome.
But now let's get into the new section.
Ask him if he thinks it's a good idea that we move Monerotopia from Miami to
Mexico City.
And he's gonna say no.
No, come back.
No, we're like,
come back. But yeah, so actually, good introduction to ChatGPT. David Knight has a show, and he talked about AI joining the propaganda war. Because ChatGPT is being trained on the internet, and the internet is biased, right? So
I think the fear is that the actual algorithms behind it are biased. That's the deeper fear.
Right. So, he talks about it, and then I have two screenshots which he did include in the video, if you want to check it out. One, ChatGPT made a poem about Trump, and then about Biden. So the Trump one, something goes along the line: Trump, a name that once resounded with power, wealth, and fame profound. He rose to fame, a business king. His ambitions and his ego both took wing, and just keeps going. And then Biden, a man with a heart of gold, with a voice that's steady and bold, a leader who strives for unity, with a vision for a brighter community.
It's really telling and really crazy, because I mean, if AI is going to essentially run the world in the background, and that's where everybody's going to be getting all their information. I mean, obviously everybody's already getting skewed information, but now if it's all coming from some AI where you could just, in the background tweak the algorithm at will to basically manipulate the entire population at large, that's scary stuff. That's propaganda on steroids.
Oh my God.
So
yes,
this is where we're headed. I don't know how that gets solved. I don't know how Monero solves that problem.
Well, I'm not sure, but almost a lot of the projects actually from the conference were using ChatGPT as an API. A lot of them. So yeah, it's scary. It's not good. He's faced challenges, both big and small. I don't like both of them, but I'm gonna say I don't even think that he sees the challenges.
Crazy.
He's a puppet. Next thing, let's talk about Lasso, a natural language search engine for on-chain data, right? So you can say, what are the top 5 wallets that have the most amount of Bitcoin and is going to list them. It can't do that to Monero. No results for Monero. And this leads me to a story from, I went to the Solana store in Miami, and I was talking to this one guy. They had a party at Solana. We're talking, what do you work? Elliptic. I was like, okay. So we talked about what he can track, his lights, his eyes were lighting up. He can track this and that. And, he likes the job, and, that's awesome. And then I said, I had to ask him, so what about Monero? And then he didn't even wait. And he said, yeah, we can't track that one. It's impossible. We can't. And he likes it too. I think he said he likes it.
You have his contact? You got to reach out to maybe get somebody from their company on the show. Love to.
I have to look. I have to look. But I got some really good contacts. I got the contact of, Galaxy.
What's Galaxy? Which Galaxy?
It's a crypto bank essentially.
Oh, okay.
But they accept minimum like $1 million checks. It's not, it's like high end. But I met the guy that works there. So
cool.
And I told him about the conference, and he was interested.
Do they hold Monero, Crypto Bank?
I don't think I got to ask him.
Come on, you're slacking here.
Come on, I try my best. If I show you my Monero.com and all my transactions, wait a second. Look, guys. And it keeps going. I sent a lot.
Oh, wow.
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 I tried to let everybody know.
That's amazing, man.
That's awesome.
The conference. Now let's talk about something that is not really awesome, which is Lebanon devaluing its currency by 90%. I have a friend from Lebanon, and in 2019, things really took a toll. The old rate was 15.07 for £1, but now it's to 15,000. So it's the devaluation of 90% starting February 1st, which is really horrible. And then we saw in the past in other episodes that you should definitely look into that banks were essentially not even giving them their money from the bank. So, and they have a 5-year plan essentially in which they plan to reconstitute the losses and help people. I guess we'll see. I don't think so.
Is crypto taking off there? I have no insight.
Yes.
It's got to be like kind of an Argentina type situation over there where there's people using crypto for behind the scenes, right?
Yes. I forgot which ones, but it wasn't even Bitcoin. I forgot which one. I think some Binance.
Yeah.
Something. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But on P2P pool version 3.0 hard fork March 18th.
Awesome.
21 UTC updated. Lots of cool stuff.
Small we're trying to get him on.
Yeah, we had him on when P2 pool first came out. We'll have to have him on.
Yeah, he wrote back.
Updates being made.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
So
awesome. We should definitely.
And now that we finally got our custom-made Monero miner, which is our CPU that we're using for our show now, we finally after a year got not because we didn't have the time to sit down and like hook everything up. Finally got it up and running. So we'll have to update our P2 pool and have him on.
Maybe we can try to get on.
Finally be like actually doing the right thing here.
Nice.
As during the interview, but like, so this is what you do.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Hypothetically, if somebody didn't know what the hell they were doing,
it helps. But see, for the new people, you can run a podcast, and the podcast is gonna make you Monero, because or whatever you do is gonna because it's CPU based. You don't need an ASIC, so.
Oh yeah.
You're doing two things at the same time. So
not just a Monero miner. No, it's actually a fantastic computer.
Yeah. But let's talk about something really, really cool and interesting. If you go on Twitter and you put your Monero address in your description, then people can send you Monero at your tweet handle.
Yes, I know. I spoke. I don't want to be that guy, but I did tell Vic this a couple of years ago. In fact, I even sent him a screenshot. I was like, hey, yeah, we talked about this. I had pitched you on this concept. But he figured it out, which is awesome. It's beautiful. I love it.
It's great.
Yeah. Now, is that being done in like a lot of other wallets and cryptos now, or is this kind of novel overall?
Other than this and the yacht, I don't know.
Yeah, so for those who don't really, so you could go into CakeWallet or Monero.com wallet, and I could, you could put at Douglas Tuman as the send address, and
Yep.
if I have a Monero addressed in my Twitter description, it's going to scrape it and pick it up, and it will detect that and auto send to that address. That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
So
Yeah, that's really awesome.
You can now effectively send to Twitter addresses. I was telling Vic it'd be very cool if there was a way where they could essentially make it for any Twitter address. So for people who haven't even added a Monero address yet, and it would kind of send it there on hold, and then only somebody with that Twitter address would then be able to unlock the funds there. So you could onboard people to Monero before they even are up and running on Cake. You know what I'm saying?
So I guess like you would go on your CakeWallet and then it's gonna say pending make Monero.
Yeah, you would get an auto tweet at message like someone just sent you a Monero tip to collect it, download, and that'd be very cool for onboarding.
Yeah.
So we can start sending Monero tips to anybody, even if they're not up and running it.
Yep. And it can be like in an escrow, and if they reject, then it's gonna go back to you.
Very cool stuff.
Very cool stuff. Then they added Burmese, Turkish, Thai, and Arabic. I'm not sure if it has Romanian, but if you're watching,
Dick, if you're watching,
I'll be happy to help. Yes, so this is how it looks like for the people watching or listening on Twitter. I'm just showing the Monero.com Twitter account, and if you go in the description, you can see how it is. You just paste your Monero address, and it's gonna do that automatically. And then
do you have a Monero address on yours yet?
Yeah, I did it I deleted mine because
oh shit, let me see if I can.
Cool.
Wait, I gotta.
Yep. So
1 sec.
You gotta sync it.
Sync it.
A never-ending story.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
You gotta put the Monerotopia banner up there.
Oh my God. Oh, you know what's funny about that until you do that? So my friend was gonna DJ at it was part of the Miami Hack Week, but I guess Solana was sponsoring the party on the rooftop. Then my friend said, "Can you guys give me like a hat and a banner of Solana?" So and I said, not a hat. We'll give you like a towel."
So you got a towel.
You got a towel, yeah. But what I did get from Monerotopia, and I still have.
What is your Twitter?
Really? That's hysterical. Look at you partying it up.
Yeah, that looks fun, man.
I know.
What is your Twitter? It's at Tony _
HUSZAR. I'm Hungarian, and Romanians hate Hungarians, and Hungarians hate Romanians. It's a lovely story.
Mine's not detecting it right now. It could be that I have to update.
Oh, you have to update probably
my CakeWallet. All right, potentially.
Did you put yours? Oh no.
Well, we don't have
Mine didn't detect it. I think I got to update mine.
Okay, let's.
I will try. Whatever. So,
but yeah, I'll send you some Monero to reimburse you for handing out all that Monero. Man. We'll contribut to that.
Well, I was gonna go back to contributing, so thank you.
We'll send you some Monero for all that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Now I have 2 CBDC stories, and whenever I look over CBDC stories, I always go back to LibertyCon and the conversation that we had with one lady that did not believe in CBDCs and they're not coming. But look at how many news we have. So Montenegro central bank teams up with Ripple for the pilot project. They expect to have it up, I think, by 2025. Which is interesting is that Montenegro is using the euro, but they're not part of the eurozone, which uses the euro. For example, Romania is not part of the eurozone, so we use our own currency, and they're also not a European member, which I thought they were. And they applied in 2008, so it's been a long time, and I guess they're still not accepted. But they work with Ripple, and so they're looking into CBDC, and they're definitely into crypto. Vitalik Buterin has been to a conference in
Montenegro. Yeah, it's interesting. It's Ripple that's behind a lot of these central bank digital coin projects, including the U.S. digital dollar project, which might end up being where the CBDC comes from in the U.S. I mean, there's competing projects, but that's interesting.
That one, and Algorand is powering a couple of countries. CBDC. For Kazakhstan's, it's actually Binance that's powering their digital currency, which is in pilot stage. They've been working on it since 2020. That's when a lot of them started. So yeah, they're working on it as well. They want to have CBDC. Now, let's talk about Bitcoin ordinals.
Story of the week.
The story of the week. Really interesting. So essentially, Bitcoin ordinal is you inscribe an NFT, as far as I understand, to the Satoshi transaction, right? That is on chain, and that makes it even more visible and more not transparent, because it's already transparent, but just more visible. So essentially, people can assign NFTs to Bitcoin, and of course, people.
And they could digitally store the NFT image in the Bitcoin blockchain in the segregated witness, which is crazy.
Which is crazy.
Which is fine. I'm not. You know, obviously, I have no. I think it's Monero. I think it's Bitcoin finally. You know, it's finding a better use case here, right? It's not working well as well. It is ultimately an NFT generator. It's pretty interesting. So people are now storing JPEGs on the Bitcoin blockchain, and so there's ordinals, and then there's it's called inscriptions. Inscriptions are the actual the NFTs. And then ordinals, my simplified understanding of it is it's basically associating a unique serial number with each Satoshi, and giving away of organizing Satoshis, wherein every Satoshi is essentially uniquely labeled. And then so the argument in Bitcoin is, well, that doesn't make it non-fun. Satoshis are still fundamentally fungible. It's just that there's this, way of organize, like you can, using this thing, you can create essentially serial numbers on top of each Satoshi, but it's not really part of the Satoshi. Satoshis are uniquely fun. It's they're still trying to argue fungibility, which is like crazy. Like, so, because practically speaking, if ordinals takes off, and I guess that if you want to go to the next story, I know you had it there. The concern is that it's basically going to open everyone's eyes to effectively how non-fungible Bitcoin can be if you start labeling each Satoshi with a unique serial number. And people are going to catch wind of this. Regulators are going to catch wind of this. They're going to like it. It's going to tie into the number go up, right? Oh, it's even more traceable than we thought. And it's going to effectively become part of the Bitcoin culture and get adopted. And because the people that really care about the cypherpunk ideology and the digital cash, true digital cash nature, that's the core early group Bitcoin. But the number go up group, unfortunately, I think has more political will in the space. And I think something like this is going to politically align more with that. So I think you're going to see this really take off. And I think you're going to see it lead to Bitcoin being less fungible than ever, and people understanding that and starting to use it in that way, including governments really beginning to understand the lack of fungibility in Bitcoin, which they already do, but even to a higher degree. I
just wonder if Satoshi is alive, or if he's dead, he's definitely rolling in his grave. This is knowing that people, he created Bitcoin, and now people are making anus NFTs on Bitcoin, which is essentially
that's the story, right? So somebody, I guess, this is the first like controversial image that's been inscribed into Bitcoin,
immutable, permanently there,
immutable, permanently saved on the blockchain. And then so the website that's a viewer of these ordinals, they've actually decided to censor it, which, now granted they're not Bitcoin, they're just a kind of a viewer. So they didn't want to up there, but it already shows like these guys, you know, when reality hits, they're already censoring. But the blockchain itself can't censor unless the miners, you know, unless we get to that point. So that's really where, you know, things are going to get interesting, because if people start to save very controversial things on what is believed to be an immutable ledger, I don't know, does the government step in that regard and start telling miners that they can't process these transactions? Like,
Right.
A picture of an anus is one thing, but what if it's very valuable U.S. you know information? You know,
Wow.
nation.
Wow.
You know, what if it's like, you know, how to build a nuclear weapon, right? And somebody's, you know, putting it up there.
Right.
The government is going to require that somehow gets removed, and there is a means to do that, which is the government basically influencing and mandating that the miners do so. I mean, this is I don't think it's that crazy of a hypothetical, right? And I'm just curious. I'd love to talk more about. We were talking about this. We had a great show on it this week on Monero Talk. We had with our guest. It led to this conversation, and we ended up talking about it.
Alexander Schmidt.
With Alexander Schmidt, and then we had a lot of other people chime in.
Releasing
Q&A.
it today
I recommend
for
people
those.
check that out.
Yeah.
Check it out for sure.
I can't get enough of this ordinals thing, because I think it's just really interesting, and what it does is it really starts to separate Monero and Bitcoin in terms of how they're different.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll look more into it, but I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a big fan of it. Just look at the NFTs that have been produced so far. What is this? Monsters.
What is that?
Well,
Whiskey was here.
These are the early cases, right? People can use it for whatever they want. I mean, there is, you know, potentially there's going to be real use cases there.
Right.
But it's definitely eating away at Monero's use case as digital cash. It's just
Bitcoins.
I'm sorry, Bitcoins.
Not Monero, guys. Don't turn off the show. Yeah, but yeah, and like you said, that's a very good point. I mean, if it's immutable, so they can put secret data or, you know, whatever, and it's there forever. So forever and ever. But people are actually concerned about this, and someone wrote, Waxwing wrote, it's precisely the kind of drivel that the state actors want to hear. It tells them that we can perfectly identify the origin of money, so we can block and control all we want. The Ordinals project, even if its creator perfectly understands that the assignation of serial numbers is arbitrary, and X protocol is, if it becomes popular, going to embed in the minds of politicians and other idiots that we can perfectly trace the history of your Bitcoins, but it can't be prevented.
Exactly. That's what I've been screaming from the top of my lungs. I think this guy hit it on the head, and he's a BTC dev, right? So it's that's how it's going to be interpreted, guys.
Yeah,
we'll see how it plays out.
For sure. But that was it for this week. These were all the news.
Awesome, man.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
The bomb, Tony. You the bomb.
And we'll move on to
we are
patiently been waiting.
I know. Thank you so much, Tony.
Tony,
All right.
we'll see you in the chat.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you in the chat.
If you don't pass out before that.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm okay.
I'll hit you at once.
I was gonna mention, guys, the links are in the description if you want to read the links by yourself. So
thank you, Tony.
Awesome.
Just
Thank
that.
you, Tony.
Oh,
Adios.
wait, Tony, did you meet with the guy that's getting the mural? Were you part of it?
No. I
No.
don't think so. No, the guy isn't there yet.
Oh, okay.
I think he's gonna meet with Arturo in like 1 hour.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
1 hour, or like today, I think.
Or
Yeah,
today,
no.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's today.
No.
Okay.
So, yeah, you never met him, but Art did. So
Got it.
I'll be talking to Art.
That mural. That's
That's a whole other talk show.
So for the people that don't know, quick mention, this huge thing.
No, we discussed
we
it
already
discussed
mentioned it earlier in the show.
Yeah.
It's on its way up from Miami, or it will be on its way up soon from Miami.
Yeah.
We're paying the guy in Monero to drive it up here. He's on a mission.
He's on a mission. It's crazy.
Tony was willing to do
The
it too. But I
story.
was like, dude,
Yeah, and to go on a plane.
he's gonna rent the van.
We were gonna go on a plane with it, but Delta didn't like it, and so,
Oh
yeah.
God, this
But-
mural. It's gonna be behind us soon.
Yeah.
So the story will always be with us. I'm
What we
looking
got? What we
forward
got?
to it. All right.
Yeah.
Bye, Tony.
Yep,
See
okay.
you. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Adios.
Later.
All righty, let's move on to our guest segment. The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by CakeWallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. CakeWallet is open source, and you always control your own keys. Hello, hello. Thank you so much for being patient and hanging out. Hopefully we were entertaining.
Oh, you were. It's very entertaining.
What can we refer to you as?
My name's Donnelly, so you.
All right, Donnelly.
Call me that.
Okay,
Awesome,
cool.
man. What's going on, man? Thanks for jumping on today.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I came across Anon Shop a couple of weeks ago, and I think I saw initially when you were basically the first iteration was a way to anonymously have things delivered from Amazon. You guys act as a service. You go make the purchase for the user, and then you send it to one of those Amazon boxes. So effectively, the user is just paying you Monero. They're not revealing their identity, and they're not even revealing their shipping address. They're just telling you, a zip code to deliver to. And I thought that was super cool. And then I see that you've since kind of been iterating a little bit, and you added a concierge service. And I know you got some other ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great, man. Are you seeing some traction? Are people using Anon Shop?
Oh yeah, people are using it a lot. I've seen more traction than I expected. Honestly, I've only been running for around a month and a half, and I sort of was just processing orders. I didn't look at the big picture. I just looked at the numbers over time, and I'm really excited about it. I'm getting a lot of support from the Monero community, which makes sense.
Yeah, I think you're doing all the right things. You're listening to feedback from people, and you're iterating, and it's exciting. And you're kind of creating a product market fit there. There's obviously people with Monero, and what's the one thing they want to do? They want to, if they spend it, they want to essentially spend it anonymously, right? Mm-hmm. That's the most ideal way. So any bridges that can be created towards that end, I think will be adopted. So it looks like you might have hit on something here. What can you tell us about yourself? Like, what is your background? How'd you get into Monero? Why are you building this? Have you worked on other crypto projects?
Oh yeah, well, how I got into Monero is probably as a lot of people. It started with Bitcoin, which I went to a math and science high school. So my actual physics teacher was mining Bitcoin in our school's closet using the school's energy, which is ended up not being too wise an idea. But then over time going to school and studying computer science, you just learn more about Bitcoin. It kept coming up. So I read Mastering Bitcoin by Andreas, and from there I was sold. So I started my, cryptocurrency career in Bitcoin. Eventually found myself in Monero due to the Bitcoin's obsession with, in my opinion, like speculation. So Monero has more of a use case, which being a tech guy, I like things that can actually be used to promote privacy versus things that are just mainly used to store value. So that's how I ended up with Monero.
Awesome, man. And what were some of the other projects you've worked on for crypto?
Oh, well, the first one was like a multi-signature Bitcoin wallet. So this was like, I want to say like 2 years before Casa was launched. If you're familiar with them,
yeah,
it was pretty much like you would have a multi-signature Bitcoin wallet, and then you would use a Ledger hardware wallet, Trezor, and a cold card to distribute your funds across those, which you could do in Electrum, but it was really not user friendly. So I pretty much made a app that put all those together and gave you like different tutorials, different guides, things like that. And that was really cool. Very complex. It took me like 8 months to build. And I've built other projects since then also.
Amazing, man.
Wow.
Amazing. How old are you?
Pretty busy.
If you don't mind,
I know, pretty busy.
How old are you? Like,
I'm 27, approximately.
Dude, awesome.
Nice.
Love it.
Done a lot.
I love it. Yeah. And now you moved over to Monero, and I think you created a nice little project there that's needed in the ecosystem. What is kind of your ultimate vision for Anon? Where do you see it headed? Is it going to continue just being this concierge service? Where do you see things going? Where are you getting?
You mean like in the next couple of months, in the year, or like what?
Yeah, I guess overall vision for the project.
Well, hopefully, eventually, my business doesn't exist because vendors actually accept Monero, and then hopefully, like I know it's a weird thing to say that hopefully you don't exist one day, but hopefully everyone accepts Monero and it becomes a standard and you don't need a service like mine. But in the short term, until that hopefully eventually happens, it will be like a private purse.io that matches people who want Monero and people who want to spend Monero, essentially.
I
Because
love it.
has a great experience, like a great user experience. But I think Monero is better fit for that market because people actually spend Monero. And then
Yeah, because Purse.io is only obviously it started off. It's kind of one of the first Bitcoin apps, right? That got traction.
Yeah.
And if you want to explain to those who don't know, I mean, it's basically a way. It's a two-sided marketplace, right? So you could come on there and you could essentially buy things anonymously with Monero through Amazon, and you're finding somebody who's willing to go buy those Amazon goods for you. And then you're sending them your Bitcoin, and then you're getting the goods sent to your address. And in exchange, that person basically got paid Bitcoin to go do that task. Right? Does that cover Purse.io?
Yeah, that's perfect.
The ecosystem. And so it's Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash is used on there. Monero would make so much more sense because people actually like spending Monero, and now there's a use case there. They're buying their goods anonymously with Monero as opposed to something that's traceable like Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash. How private is Purse.io? I mean, do they even really kind of focus on that aspect? Or
I would say no, because fundamentally you need to have the way they work. You need to have an Amazon account, and you need to make an Amazon wish list. So so Amazon knows exactly who you are and what you're doing. They don't specifically know that you're trading Bitcoin, but there's a record of the transactions, what was bought, where it was shipped, pretty much all that metadata. And they do I would say even worse for the shopper, because they collect all information about the shopper, what you're buying. So it's pretty,
oh, wow.
I would say not private. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize. I've never used it. I thought they did it in a way where the shopper, because somebody else, right? Like if I want to go buy 5 items off of Amazon, so I'm picking those 5 items, but I'm not actually making the purchase. I'm just then telling somebody else to go buy it. So how does Amazon then know that I bought it through Purse.io knows? Yeah,
well, Purse.io know and Amazon does, because the way Purse.io, it sort of goes on to the situation with like moderating trades. The way that Purse.io moderates trades is that they require the person wanting to buy something, they require them to have an Amazon account and make an Amazon wish list. So you pretty much make a wish list, and then so the shopper doesn't see your account, like your address to deliver the items to. They pretty much go in their account. Oh, this person wants like a jacket or a shirt delivered to this wish list, so they'll purchase from your wish list, which hides the shopper's address, which hides the person who wants to buy something's address from the shopper. But Amazon.io, Amazon knows your address because they require an account. Well, Purse.io requires you to use an account with them, and they don't. They used to allow Amazon lockers, but they don't allow Amazon lockers anymore.
So how do you see it playing out in your version? How are you going to solve those issues, make it more private? Like what?
Make it more private. Yeah, well, we can make it more private. I would say, if we step back, the reason I would say the biggest threat actor to privacy is going to be like the KYC that prevents scammers, essentially. So the only way to ensure that both sides aren't scammers is to either have KYC or to have a bond required. So I imagine when you shop for something, instead of knowing who you are, I don't care who you are. All I care about is that you're gonna participate in this system and not try to hurt people. So I require you to put like a $10 bond up in Monero, and pretty much each side requires a bond. So that way I don't need to know who you are. I just need to make sure that you actually follow the rules of the system and deliver the Monero and the product accordingly.
Awesome. And then so as a buyer, somebody who's looking to shop, buy Amazon products, effectively it'd be kind of the same kind of workflow that you have. So you're just posting the links to the things that you want purchased.
Yep, and then the only change now is going to be that you're required to put like a $10 Monero deposit down. That way, it just ensures that you're not going to try to like claim you didn't get the item, claim you didn't do any of these other things. So I don't need to know who you are, which is different than Purse.io.
Right. And then on the other side of the marketplace, people will see those items that people want purchased, and then they can jump in and make that purchase for them.
Yep.
On their personal Amazon account, right? And then how do they know what address? Oh, and then they're sending it to the locker.
That's an option. It's up to you. We offer two services: the locker service, and the concierge service. So you either deliver it anonymously to an Amazon locker, but there are some restrictions, right? On that, it's like size restrictions,
right?
So we also allow concierge service, which ships to your address if you choose that. There are different options for you.
And then in the concierge service option, so then as the service, Anon Shop will know obviously the address that these things are being sent to, and that Monero is used to buy them, but you won't know who owns that address, like who lives at that address, because you don't have any of their identifying information. And then the person that made the purchases on Amazon, they don't know anything, right? They weren't given any address at all. They were just making up, they're just buying the Nike sneakers on Amazon. And where are they sending it to? They know the address that it's getting sent to?
Yeah, they do. Unless you want to go and make an Amazon wish list, which is the way Purse.io does. So mainly the way I see it is like you can have fully anonymous with some restrictions, or you can do a little more convenient with no restrictions.
Okay.
Give the user the option what privacy level they want to use.
Very cool, man. I love it. You got something there. Awesome. Anything else you want to mention about it?
No, you've asked really engaging questions. Thanks for having me on and asking really good questions. Nothing comes to mind right now.
Cool. I think are you available to hang around a little bit, because we could jump in? Yeah, we could jump in the chat. I'm sure some people in the chat might have a few questions, and then we'll see where the conversation flows from there.
Of course.
It always flows somewhere.
Yeah, it always flows somewhere, and it continues on forever.
As Sunita makes our breakfast,
I like move along.
We slowly move on with our day. I go get my daughter. Kind of still half in the chat. Have you been following the ordinals thing?
Oh yeah. That's really interesting, because I feel like it's a coming around for Bitcoin for different reasons. Because if you know Bitcoin's history, like Vitalik, who started Ethereum, left because Bitcoin essentially didn't want those things on the network, which is so funny that like NFTs are now come full circle back, went to Ethereum, they came back to Bitcoin, which is just an amazing story.
Right? It's like cherry on the top right now. All right, man. Let's move over to the spaces. So we'll close that over here. We'll see you in the spaces.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
We'll do the
let's
viewers
do
on
it. Just do
stage.
viewers on stage. There you
See
go.
you in 30 seconds.
See you in a second. Yeah. Transition over.
We're gonna make you a co-host over there.
Yeah. Just
Okay.
go over there. Okay.
Cool.
It's the viewers on stage segment. It's that time where we invite you, the viewers, up on stage to comment on anything you've heard so far today, ask the guest a question, or maybe talk about one of the news topics. Come on down. It's a very cheesy intro there. All right. So
You're just realizing this?
shut up.
That's the charm.
That is the charm.
Hold on, I'm adding
All right. Let's
Anon Shop to co-host. I added myself to co-host.
all right. So once
Let me
you
know.
log on.
Are you live on streaming it now? To our
Yeah.
people that are on streamer?
Yeah, I just need to. Where'd it go? Okay, listen live. So
All right, I'm gonna
mute
move over there,
myself.
okay?
Yeah, hold on. I gotta mute over here.
Streaming it now? To our
Yeah.
people that are on streamer?
Yeah, I just need to. Where'd it go? Okay, listen live. So
All right, I'm gonna
mute
move over there,
myself.
okay?
Yeah, hold on. I gotta mute over here.
All right, guys. Here we go, Raphael. Let me add him as a speaker. Anon Shop, you should be added as a co-host. All right, guys. Anon Shop should Raphael, what's going on, man?
Yo, what's up? What's up? Hey, how are you guys?
There's
Dude,
the energy.
Bro,
What's
are
up,
we gonna
bro?
mint them Monero NFTs on BTC or what, guys? Ordinalswallet.com, baby. Let's get it done. Let's get it
What's-
done. Don't censor me, bro.
What's your
Fucking
take
Bitcoin
on all
dev.
this?
Fucking trying to censor me, bro. They're trying to censor me on the Bitcoin blockchain. How fucked up is that? What's
So,
wrong with these people? What the
how
fuck
do
is
you- how
wrong
do
with these people? The valid transactions that follow the rules of the game. They want to censor me again. They need to stop with that shit, man. What's up? What's going on? They even said, you know what they said? Luke Dasher said he wants to move away from proof of work if this continues.
Oh my God, they're falling apart over there, man. They're
Yeah, bro,
falling apart.
Monero's king. What's up? Everything that they want is in Monero. So we gotta, everybody in the Monero community has to simply follow the rules of Bitcoin and mine yourself some Monero NFTs, baby.
What do you think this ultimately means for Bitcoin? I mean, obviously ordinals isn't going away. It's going to gain adoption. Where do you see this headed?
Okay, so to be completely honest with you, BTC is a boomer world and they have boomer mindsets. The truth is that they never wanted to build on chain. They never really understood what Satoshi gave us. Okay, that's the honest truth. They are dependent on externalities to the blockchain. So if anyone wants to use anything that Satoshi actually gave us on the blockchain, they're gonna, they're gonna fucking trip out because their agenda is to move you away from Bitcoin. Have you noticed that? They don't want you to actually use the blockchain. That's the truth. In BTC, they want you to be dependent on externalities outside the blockchain. And so that's really fucking evil and fucked up when developers from Bitcoin come to Bitcoin talk, to Monero talk, and start infusing the Monero mind with the stupid rhetoric that we heard in BTC. Oh, you guys are too dependent on miners. You guys should run Raspberry Pis under your pillow and sleep soundly at night. What the fuck is your Raspberry Pi doing now when I'm posting NFTs on the blockchain, on the BTC blockchain? Ain't doing shit. That's right, because you can't extend the ledger. So you're talking about people that it took them 8 years to realize that the Lightning Network will not and will never work. Whereas people in Monero, like what's the Spaniard guy, Sanchez, the guy that the PhD from Purdue, they told us from the jump, Monero contributors told us from the jump, they just, look, logically speaking, Lightning Network will never work. It took us literally less than 6 months. And for the verification to happen from like actual scholarship behind it. And we already knew that the Lightning Network was a dead end. To depend on externalities is stupid. And it took these guys 8 years, okay? What the fuck is really going on here? I don't know. I'll let your imagination run wild. But the truth is that if you're not building on-chain, open source, and interoperably, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. That's the truth. That's the truth. And whoever thought that the path to embracing everything Bitcoin and Satoshi gave us, the totality of the Bitcoin design, all of the opcodes, not just the coin aspect, but also the bit aspect of Bitcoin, its computational power. Whoever thought that road was gonna be easy and that you were gonna be embraced by big tech and have murals for Jack Dorsey at Bitcoin conferences, you were naive and you were dumb and you were led astray, because what Bitcoin really is something a lot bigger than what the small blockers try to sell you. And that's the honest truth. Honest small blockers went to Monero a long time ago. Guys that really wanted digital gold and digital cash understood from the jump that they needed to start anew with fungibility as their goal. And in that beautiful honesty, right, that we have, what we have in Monero. But, if you want to play this game of like pretending to be decentralized when in reality you have a group of central planners dictating how the protocol is to be shaped or what transactions to even process, then we're having another conversation. So no, this is a great thing that's happening in Bitcoin history. A lot of people are waking up to what us big blockers knew from day one. I love Crypto Bear, right? What in his song, right? I got banned on Reddit for wanting big blocks. When then the hackers start giving TED Talks, right? I love that line because Crypto Bear and me, man, we're in the same team, bro. I got banned from Reddit. I got like censored all over by Bitcoiners, quote unquote, right? Like, what the fuck, right? Like, so, no, dude, this is amazing. And this is amazing for everyone in crypto because it's showing that the emperor wears no clothes. It's showing that what's really happening here is that there was a coup that literally Bitcoin was, they try to keep us away from Bitcoin's computational power using a libertarian rhetoric to pretend like they were going to be able to turn the Bitcoin protocol into a privacy coin, which will never happen. And that was the lie that like led the whole crypto space astray in developing all of these fucking shit coins, which were never necessary. Monero arguably was necessary, right? Arguably because, you know, you needed to start from a solid foundation of complete fungibility and privacy. But we never needed all this shitcoin market. It could have all been experimented on the Bitcoin blockchain itself. And guess what? We're doing it right now. It's costing me to mint a programmable NFT 1/300th of a penny at this moment. So you're telling me the Bitcoin protocol and all the opcodes Satoshi gave me are not to be exploited with and not to be played with? Like, who the fuck are you to tell me what spam on the blockchain is? Who the fuck are you to tell me what a valid transaction is or not? Who the fuck are you to tell me if a transaction goes through, it's mined by a miner and both parties agree? Stop interfering with the free market, dude. Stop getting in the way of productive capitalists and limiting their productive output like they did with, oh, dude, you can only mine so many, you know, megabytes per block. That's bullshit, bro. That's like telling Chrysler they can only, put out like 20,000 cars out of the assembly line per year. Stop being a fucking communist. Straight up. Let the market figure out how many is enough in every aspect of the game. We don't need central planners, guys.
I love it, Raphael. I mean, it's more obvious that you've been saying these things forever. You've been saying it forever. But I think it's more obvious than ever right now. Anybody who didn't really kind of understand these narratives, it's very much in your face right now. How did it initially happen, man? Do you have insight into like how did the kind of the coup take place where Bitcoin became all about building a second layer of essentially fiat on top of the Bitcoin protocol? Like
MasterCard in 2015 pretty much funded Digital Currency Group. So you can look, if you guys really want to follow, it's all there. Go to crunchbase.com, right? Crunchbase.com and get yourself a pro account. See, the thing is that I come from the background of venture capital. I was in charge of helping source capital for all the early Bitcoin startups. So my world has been understanding where the money goes and where the money comes from, right? So I'd highly recommend all you guys, especially in a post-FTX world, to get a Crunchbase account. Actually, a lot of the information is free. Just go on Crunchbase and just follow who owns what on Crunchbase, right? And follow that chain per se of ownership. And you'll see that a lot of the faces that you see as managing partners and owners and whatever are not really the shot callers. The real shot callers are what they refer to as the limited partners, the money, the owners of the portfolios behind these entities. Follow the money. You'll see what's really happening. You'll see exactly where all of this comes from, you know? So it's not like, yeah, I'll leave that to your discretion. You guys need to verify that for yourself. I know everybody here is extremely smart. Just get on Crunchbase and start doing research. You'll find it for yourself. It's obvious. Once you start seeing where the money goes, you start seeing how Silvergate owns MicroStrategy and blah blah blah, and it just makes sense, dude. So MasterCard really pretty much runs the game right now.
Yeah, I got to do a good show on that. Maybe you could tell me some good people to talk to. Never really did kind of a deep dive. Always like hint at it and talk about it, but never did a deep dive.
Bro, look, the best way to do is not to just have someone on your show has done the research. To be completely honest, you need to, there's a lot of great researchers within Monero themselves. Just tell them to fire up Crunchbase and do the research themselves, right? Because it's like in the world of philosophy, right? If you just give to someone like the conclusion of an argument, right, of a syllogism, you've never did philosophy with that person. You have to walk them through it, right? So in order to really understand these things, you have to walk yourself through it. So, dude, there's many Bitcoin historians out there, and the Bitcoin historians that will tell you these things are pretty much there's a giant ass propaganda machine against them. So you know, they're you know, like good old communist Stalinisky tactics. They attack people, right? They don't attack arguments. So you're gonna get that. You're gonna get a lot of the people like the Kurt Walker Juniors of this world. They're gonna be people whose name they're gonna smear even more. So it's just the name of the game. The best thing to do is to do the research yourself, and it's really simple, guys. Crunchbase.com is your best friend.
So Rafa, so how would you define Monero, and how would you define Bitcoin? What are the, you know, what we know what Monero is going to be digital cash. What is Bitcoin then? What is it?
Yeah. So Monero is the ultimate manifestation of cryptocurrency proper. Everything built is on-chain, open source, and interoperably to lead you towards the perfect platonic form made manifest through mathematics of what money is, okay? With all the monetary properties of what money should be in the world of digital finance, modern digital finance. That's Monero. So Monero is cryptocurrency proper in its most incredible manifestation, right? Bitcoin is another animal. So the money aspect of Bitcoin was the fuel that Satoshi gave Bitcoin in order for it to grow, right? But it wasn't the end in mind. It was a means to an end. The money aspect of Bitcoin, the coin aspect of Bitcoin, was given from Satoshi as a fuel because Team Satoshi, or he or she, whatever, they knew that this marvelous invention was not going to get funded from outside. It had to get its fuel from within, okay? So that's one aspect of the monetary aspect of Bitcoin. But Bitcoin in itself, if you really want to understand Bitcoin, you have to move beyond the bit aspect of Bitcoin and start understanding the computational power of Bitcoin itself. In order to embrace that computational power of Bitcoin itself, you have to understand that the strip size, it can be unlimited, just like the block size can be unlimited. And when you use the same Bitcoin protocol at scale, you realize that Bitcoin's in reality a marketplace for everything on chain. Okay, let me break it down for you. How do you operate with this on-chain market? You build on-chain interoperably in open source. Here, actually, I wrote this down. I'm gonna give you guys. I'm gonna drop the bomb right now. Is this being recorded?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give you guys the key to hyper-Bitcoinization right now. And hyper-Bitcoinization is literally two weeks away, if we want it. If we want it, hyper-Bitcoinization is 2 weeks away, ladies and gentlemen. It really is 2 weeks away. If we want it, if you reach for it, it's 2 weeks away. We can scale the original Bitcoin protocol to over 100 million users in less than a month and outsurpass ChatGPT. And I'm going to give you guys the hack. You guys ready? We can live in a post-hyper-Bitcoinization world in 2 weeks. You guys ready for this?
We're ready.
This is fire, guys. Get ready for this shit. You guys ready?
I'm only going to give this one.
All right. So how do we build? Well, this is a formula for hyper-Bitcoinization. How do we build? You build on-chain. Everything has to be on-chain, okay? No dependencies on any externalities at all. On-chain. Everything has to be open source, okay? Even the code, it'd be wise to put the code on-chain. Why do you want to build open source? So that we can leverage off each other's success. No business built on the Bitcoin blockchain will ever outlive Bitcoin. Get that through your head. So no corporation, no corporate structure will ever outlive Bitcoin. What this means is that Bitcoin in itself is the manifestation of triple entry accounting, which does away with the corporate structure that comes from dual entry accounting. That's boomer mindset. Nothing will outcompete the Bitcoin blockchain itself. Everybody works for Bitcoin and they don't even know it yet. So Bitcoin is a new internet per se, if you want me another definition for Bitcoin. So everything built on Bitcoin, since it's open source and on chain, is obviously interoperable, okay? Everything built on the Bitcoin blockchain needs to be interoperable, okay? So what is it that we're to build? The apps that contain these three prerequisites, these following prerequisites, I'm giving you another following prerequisites for the apps to be built on chain. Are you ready? Number one prerequisite that all of these applications need to have is the dopamine addiction of social media. And you have to have that dopamine addiction combined with the experience of an on-chain, of using a crypto exchange, okay? Number one prerequisite, that's right there. So it's addiction of social media plus the experience of using a crypto exchange, right? Number 2, open order lock to create an on-chain exchange for these applications. An example of this is seen on the Daro blockchain with the Daro NFTs, where it's an on-chain exchange. So we no longer trust third parties or any externalities with our exchanging. The exchanging in the free market will be done on-chain from now on. Okay, that's part of the hyper Bitcoinization. That's why we need to scale on-chain. Okay. Now, in order to do this, now I think that's pretty much all I have to say there. Okay. Third aspect. Okay, so do you have any questions there? Because those right there are big. Those are just 2 of the prerequisites of what to build. All right, I already told you how to build. How to build is on-chain, open source, interoperably. What to build, which is you have to have the dopamine addiction of social media, plus the order, plus that experience of exchanging goods on a crypto exchange. But now we need the order lock open for on-chain exchanges like experienced in Daro NFTs, okay? So we don't ever have to trust if the exchanges of the future have our money in reserves. Every block of time, we can verify reserves, okay? And we can use zero-knowledge proofs to, like, you know, verify that right there. If you guys are interested in this and what's happening within the original Bitcoin protocol development, I suggest you research recursive zero-knowledge proofs. And the so Bitcoin has a programming language, which is like the Bitcoin virtual machine that they never wanted us to use, which we're using now. Yes, renegades like me do exist. And this is called the Bitcoin script. And we don't talk about smart contracts in Bitcoin land. We talk about computing script, and the script computational size can be unlimited. It's unlimited, infinite. And on top of that, we have we're now working with zero-knowledge proof smart contracts, and you can see it on script. So script is the Solidity counterpart to Ethereum smart contract language. The Bitcoin smart contract language is called script. And now there's also a Solidity to script transpiler, where everything from Ethereum can be moved to the original Bitcoin blockchain design. And there's also TypeScript, which you can like literally write code in JavaScript and, you know, move it to script. So it's all there, baby. I'm telling you, we have this shit's done. Hyper Bitcoinization is 2 weeks away if we want it. Okay, so recursive zero-knowledge proofs is also something that we're using, and within the Bitcoin blockchain, since it scales parallel and it's not the account-based model where the whole state changes, the global state changes of the blockchain. Satoshi's design is superior with the UTXO model, where we can run where the whole global state doesn't change. And let me explain this to you guys. So in a nutshell, the account-based model is like owning a bus station, and every time you get more passengers for your bus company, you build a bigger bus. That sounds pretty dumb, right? That's the analogy of changing the global state. You just keep building a bigger bus. That's really dumb. The UTXO model that Satoshi gave us is a beautiful design that mirrors how big tech scales, which scales not vertically but horizontally in parallel. Meaning that when you get more passengers, what you do is that you just buy more buses, right? So we can have it's infinite scaling in Bitcoin's original design. You just add more miners to the network. That's it. Okay. When we have parallel scaling, we're capable of experimenting with all types of zero knowledge at the same time. ZK Snarks, ZK Starks, and Bulletproofs are on the original Bitcoin design at the same time to create different applications that use different types of zero knowledge. At the same time, we are using recursive zero knowledge proofs. I highly recommend you guys read all of it. It's already done, which is it's having a proof within a proof within a proof onto infinity, right? And all you need is the last cryptographic receipt, very similar to like a recording contract, but using zero knowledge. That's already happening, okay? Applications are being built right now. And if you go to scrypt.io, scrypt.io, there is even a tutorial on how to program using recursive zero knowledge on how to program build a battleship game on chain, which is cool. So, all right. So the third prerequisite So we have what to build, right? The dopamine addiction of social media, combined with the experience of using a crypto exchange. We need the order lock open to create an on-chain exchange. And the third is we need to rank content on the internet using proof of work. So you know how Michael Saylor talks about Bitcoin energy and all this bullshit. Oh, it's finance wrapped around in energy. Well, guess what, fucker? You can also do that with all content on the internet using Bitcoin's original design. You can wrap all data, any type of data, using Bitcoin energy. And what we have discovered is that we can have an upvoting mechanism that is the counterpart to all this AI bullshit. So AI, ChatGPT is nothing but noise creating machines. That's all they're doing, creating more noise. Bitcoin proof of work shows us how to get honest signals, because Bitcoin in itself is honest. Like the Satoshi always says, honest proof of work, honest nodes, honest miners. So it's this honest energy, the most provable form of waste on the planet, Bitcoin energy itself, that we can use as an upvoting mechanism to drown out all of the stupid noise of the internet and listen to the smartest of people. So it's the most Sybil attack resistant upvoting mechanism on the planet, and it's already been designed and created with the Boost API. I can get more into that, but it exists right now.
You are on fire today, man.
Bro, because this is my life, bro. I fucking love Bitcoin. I'm a Bitcoiner, bro. I'm a big blocker Bitcoiner, dude. I've been working on this shit.
Hold on,
you're not gonna stop us, bro. You're not gonna stop us.
Raphael,
what's up?
You're coming to Monerotopia, right?
Are you kidding me? Of course I am. But here, bro, I'm not done, man. I still gotta tell you how we're gonna execute hyper-Bitcoinization.
No, because what I'm saying is maybe you want to give a presentation there, man.
Bro, I'm gonna give you a presentation everywhere. But the thing is that I can't. No. That's a boomer mindset. You can't think like that. Okay.
No presentation.
You can't think like that. Oh, I'll go to this conference and that conference. No, bro. All we need is for one killer app that uses all of these constitutive factors that I'm giving you right now to be built, and we will have a faster rise than ChatGPT. It's gonna be crazy, but we just have to fucking do it. I'm giving you guys the keys right here. Okay, this is how we execute everything I told you. So you must. So ChatGPT was funded. The reason why it got over 100 million users in a month is because they funded the use of it. They can't give you ChatGPT for free forever. They just can't. You know. So again, in Bitcoin's original design, it's costing us 1/300th of a penny to mint programmable NFTs on chain. That means that we can easily community fund the minting for people to come in and use everything that I already told you, by the way, on what to build. Our number 1 and 2, that's already created. It's called Club Relay. Look it up. Fucking amazing. So we're almost there, actually, guys. We're actually really fucking close. All right, just letting you guys know so you can be part of it. So
this is good stuff, man. I'm saying come down because you're throwing out a lot of information there. So that's what I'm saying. If you want to present on
this information needs to get out, bro. I need to give you two more executional strategies, right?
Fire. Whatever you're saying is crap. Don't even make sense.
All right, so
let's see what Finn's got to say.
Hold up. This has to get out on the ether, bro. Okay. The minting has to be the posting, okay? And number 3, bidding happens automatically for digital assets owned on chain with optional anonymity features. And how does this look like? Think of what would it be like? If you start thinking about the UI, UX of this application or these applications, it would be block explorers as marketplaces where the chain of digital signatures show the chain of ownership and the cost of bids at the present moment. And that's it. I'm done.
All right. Let's let Aon say some words here in response.
Yeah, I just wanted to push back on some things because scaling infinite blocks, obviously, chains have tried that. Bitcoin SV is trying that, and there's no success in it. It's 10 terabyte blockchain. It's being delisted because exchanges can't even run a node to run the network. And Ethereum back in 2015 was on the same thing, like, oh, Bitcoin's, restricting the block size. we're going to scale properly. And now what's Ethereum doing? They're going to ZK rollups. They're going to side chains because there's no infinite scaling. You can't have that.
I already explained that Ethereum uses the account-based model, and I gave you the analogy of the bus station. So they will never scale.
Any other chain, SV doesn't scale either. Because it's centralized. If you can't run a node, I have to trust someone else's node. And then beyond that, how do you solve the block propagation problem?
Just sit back and watch.
The bigger blocks get, the longer it takes to propagate them around the world, because energy and information takes time to move around the world. And so the longer it takes to propagate, the more likely it is of a chain split. Because the whole point of these networks is to coordinate people and keep them in consensus as quickly as possible. And if you don't have that consensus happening quickly, there's splits in the network. And so if you have 10 gigabyte blocks trying to get mined, and half the world has one chain, the other half the other chain, because it takes 10, who knows how long to transmit a 10 gigabyte block, how do you solve that? You don't. I mean,
I'll tell you how right now. Block size calibrated via market demand. So yes, the market demand will calibrate miners that had to have more capacity to wait on miners that have lower capacity. And the mempool on big block Bitcoin is cleared every 10 minutes completely. And the provable weight of the miners itself sets them up to have the economic drivers to assure us that the transactions will be picked up on the next block of time.
That's assuming the chain's not splitting, because the world is on one chain, the other half's on the other chain.
Dude, every 10 minutes, the hash rate. So your argument is kind of mute, because in itself, every 10 minutes is a little hash war. The chain is arguably always splitting because you are incentivized as a miner to find errors in your peers. Again, this is the honest chain of digital signatures. It is not the brute force chain like other people would have you believe. It is not might means right. It is the honest chain of digital signatures. In the early days of Bitcoin mining, we would ask ourselves, what if a big government or corporation would come in with their giant computers and take over the network? The answer was always, we are the honest chain of digital signatures. We will reorganize the blockchain, and we will orphan the suicidal miners that came in, trying to attack the honest chain of digital signatures.
Who chooses who's the legit miners and who's not legit? Who makes that choice? That's what proof of work is for, is to coordinate the system. If you don't have proof of work, you fall back to social coordination.
Well, this is the difference, is that you come from a Monero small blocker mindset, and you think that social coordination has to happen through just like brute force of might means right. No, social coordination in Bitcoin, because now we're in Bitcoin land. In a Bitcoin land, you have to put on the Bitcoin hat on that I'm giving you, which is a Bitcoin that accepts that it is a ledger and a global truth machine, an honesty machine. So the question that you're asking is not in regards to Bitcoin proper, but rather to dispute resolution, which at this moment there's no overarching anarchist legal system on the planet. There is no cryptographic law yet. What we do have are various different jurisdictions throughout the planet that are competing with each other in being the most profitable. And Bitcoin was created to hack that incentive structure to make tyranny costly, and so that freedom prospers. So you have to think about Bitcoin. If you're talking to me, you got to think about Bitcoin the way I'm talking about Bitcoin. Otherwise, we will lose each other and talk past one another. I can talk to you about Bitcoin the way you see Bitcoin, and we could agree. But if you're gonna talk to me, I'm letting you know that my perspective, the big blocker perspective of Bitcoin, is different than like talking to someone from Monero, or what BTC try to sell you, trying to pose as Monero, because BTC is nothing but that, trying to pose as Monero. So you're talking about dispute resolution, okay? So you're opening yourself up to literally, you'd be dumb not to realize that government law exists in a transparent ledger. It's dishonest for BTC.
You're saying the honest chain, and we'll orphan the non-honest chain. I just asked who's chooses what's honest and who doesn't. That's not what proof of work is for.
Proof of
That's the
work.
coordination mechanism.
Proof of work. That's what they
It's
told you.
to coordinate
That's what they told
untrusted
you.
parties on the same chain.
Yes, correct. You're right. But how the coordination happens through economic incentives. Okay, it's not through dictates, which is what they try to sell you in BTC. Okay, it's not through central planning dictates like what's happening right now with ordinals, where the core devs are freaking out and they're saying that they're going to
Hold
censor
on.
the blockchain or even move away from proof of work altogether. Okay, it has to be.
That's some lunatic. Who cares about what Luke Dash? He can't even hold his own crypto.
I have a question for you. I don't have a great answer for you, but I want to ask what is different about BTC in the same question you asked. So like, you keep your blocks small, okay? You have a whole thousands of people running home nodes. Okay, cool. Now on BTC, I think the top few miners are still controlling like 60-75% of the hash rate, like 3 or 4 of them. So 2 of them are honest, or in your example, 1 of them is honest, 1 of them is dishonest. And the dishonest one wants to act like it's the honest one and lead the chain of signatures. What happens in BTC to resolve that any differently than you're concerned about BSV?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the 51% attack, essentially.
Yeah, so like, does the other 6,000 home nodes help you prevent that, or what happens?
Well, no, the block propagation is different than a 51% attack. I mean, the chain split can happen just without an attacker because of block propagation. So if you have 10 gigabyte blocks, the chain can split. It has split because of block propagation time. And there's a limit to that, and it's the speed of light. You can't, as far as we know, you can't travel faster than the speed of light. And the more, someone did a study on it, and there's like a few milliseconds added for every megabyte that you add to a block. And so you get infinite blocks, and you have these block propagation delays. But if you have, 4 miners in the world and there's no one running a node, that doesn't really matter. But if I'm not running a node, I have to trust someone else's node. So why would I want to play that game?
No, but right now you run your node. Don't you still have to trust miners? Like, the miners include a different transaction. What is your home node going to do?
Well, I'm fine with whatever transactions they are included as long as they're valid. I have no problem with ordinals. I have no problem with anything that, someone pays block space for. I just want to make sure I can
number go up guy, which I am too. Like, if you're holding BTC, which I assume you are, don't you want your blocks to be like 10 megabytes? Then you can have more ordinals.
No, because that compromises the decentralization and the ability for the chain to coordinate.
But
as quickly
10
as
megabytes
possible.
doesn't really compromise that much, right? That's fine, right?
Well, there's someone wrote like an actual study on how much variance or how much delay is added for each megabyte.
Let's go
added
half
to a
megabyte
block.
then. How
And
about
so,
that? Double decentralized. What about half a megabyte? That's double decentralized, no? Twice as fast.
According to some people, yeah. According to some people, it is. I mean, I'm sure there's definitely, an optimal and a non-optimal. I don't think 10 gigs is the best. I don't think 500 kilobytes is the best, but I feel like on a technical level, there needs to be some kind of limit because 1, it takes time for data to propagate, and 2, these networks are all about coordination. Their ability to coordinate individuals who don't trust each other and keep them in consensus. And that's all human interaction is. We have governments that are coordination mechanisms. We have, economic theories that are coordination mechanisms. We have all these things that are attempting to coordinate humans in a
but
best way possible. And that's what
Maxi?
Bitcoin and Monero are.
Are you a Bitcoin Maxi?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Bitcoin Rashi.
Because it sounds like gold is better. I mean, gold doesn't have like, oh, gold is good if it's like this size or that size. Like, I mean, like, this Bitcoin thing originally was supposed to be this huge world-changing thing. Now you're telling me like, yeah, but like if it was like a little bit bigger blocks, it's probably a little bit not safe. Like, this doesn't sound like a chain that like we can actually move all the world's economy onto. So
you can't move all the world's economy onto any chain.
Huh?
You can't move all the world's economy onto any chain.
Okay, then what's the upside in owning this asset?
Because it's distributed consensus without trust. It's trust minimized.
Can you do distributed consensus without trust for 8 billion people, or just the current people?
I mean,
like for the number to go up, we need to get a few hundred million more people into BTC, right?
Maybe, I don't know. It's based on value. Value is subjective.
Sure, but I want to be part
Maybe
of the subjective
Ethereum.
value.
Maybe
Like,
Ethereum
how
will
do I get
overtake
in
it.
on this?
How do you get in on it? You could do, sell services for Bitcoin, create value, create value that someone finds value in.
Right, but like I can't sell a $2 service for Bitcoin because the person buying my service has to pay $3 in fees.
If they, right now you don't have to pay $3 in fees, but if you're selling a service, you could sell for dollars and buy Bitcoin, or you could.
I see. I'm just saying that like
You could
you're
use
not making
Lightning.
it like you're not really making it mandatory to have Bitcoin. You're making it like optional. Like after I get some dollars, I can go get some Bitcoin. But like, what if you
having gold is optional? It's not. You can't force people to find value.
I know, but that's why gold is so tiny. That's why gold is 12 trillion. The economy is like hundreds of trillion because it can't actually. It's like an option that you go buy some. It's not required. Like
so, BSV costs a fraction of a penny to use. Why is it not, exploding and hyper BSVization?
Well, because right now the utility that is being built each day, each year on the BSV network is a fraction of the value of the D utility from a exchange delisting. So let's say like exchange delist BSV, that impacts the price by $30 or something like that. Okay, $50.
Yeah, the last one that delisted it did it because they can't run a node.
Yeah, sure. They can't run a node.
And there's no economic incentive for them to run a node.
Some people can't get it up and have to take Viagra too. Like I can't help them. Okay, like if they can't run a node, that's too bad for them, right?
Okay, well then, how they can't even accept a payment for a half a penny then if they're trying to.
Like I said, they have erectile dysfunction. Okay, like I can't help them.
No, they don't have 10 terabytes worth of data. That's not an argument. Erectile dysfunction is not an argument. They don't have 10 terabytes worth of data.
It means they can't get it up, but other people can. Okay, so the network is continuing. It's just like they were seeing.
So your argument is that we need to make it cheap so that you can get a half a penny. Someone could sell a $2 item, but if they can't afford their own node, they have erectile dysfunction. That's not an argument.
Aon, can I ask a question? How do you see it in the future with Monero? So as I understand, Monero has these movable block sizes.
Hold on? Can you bookmark that and let the conversation we're having the other direction? That it literally is. It does.
Yeah, so Raphael is breaking up a little bit. But yeah, let's continue on this thread just a little bit more with BSV, and then we'll move on to other things.
So the services that are offering half a penny payments and whatever, they are still offering that today. They're offering that at cheaper than ever before. So other people on the network dropping off is not affecting the actual capabilities of the network. It's affecting their capabilities. Now, they are seen as previously seen as a reliable service in the BSV economy. Like, for example, you used to rely on Binance to use your trades for BSV. Then you relied on things like Robinhood, okay? And those things have been deplatformed. So the price is obviously weighing into every factor. And so far, the utility that's been created from this big blocks, I concur with you, is not that big a deal. So it has not outweighed the negative factors like delisting, like Craig ruining the reputation, blah, blah, for now, okay? But because the chain is still alive and still becoming more efficient every block, there will be a point in time where the price goes up irrespective of the bad news. That's when the utility value has surpassed the negative value. Does that make sense?
No, because value is subjective. You don't know that people are going to find value in your utility.
Who like the subjective value of BSV is going to be more than the current $800 million market cap.
Maybe.
If that were true, then Monero would get zero because it is also tainted. So the value of Monero is because of its intrinsic value and its utility.
There's intrinsic utility. There's no such thing as intrinsic value. There's intrinsic utility. That's it.
Okay, the intrinsic utility of Monero is what it gives value. If it would be just the value because of it's a nice name, then it wouldn't have a size of a value as it has now. The the utility of you using Monero in let's put it not as nice ways as you would be using Bitcoin, or not as nice ways as you would be dollars, but really a little bit on the dark side. That is what gives Monero its value. That's the utility. So even though everybody could shit on Monero, even then people in Monero will buy Monero because they can do something with Monero that they cannot do with anything else. Do you agree with me on that one?
Yeah, completely. I love Monero.
Okay. Now imagine the same thing is with BSV. Everybody hates on it, but there are some things that you can do with BSV that you cannot do with anybody else.
Maybe you could do it on Ethereum. People are doing
No,
it on Ethereum.
You cannot do it on Ethereum because Ethereum does not scale because it is an account-based model. Okay, we have a TXO-based model in BSV.
So basically, no one is gonna buy BSV because it's UTXO model versus Ethereum account-based model. So that is just like something no one cares about. But
that's a value determination. Some people will value the proof of stake more or the account-based more.
Yeah, maybe they want to value account-based more. So we're not going to win based on UTXO versus account. But if UTXO leads you to be able to create some kind of weird-ass app that has people wanting to use that service, irrespective of what chain it's on, whatever, but they just want to use that service, it's not possible anywhere else, and you find a product market fit, that's when it's off to the races. So far, it's just BSV has a bunch of small transactions and has big blocks, but has not found a use case that has gone viral. I agree with that.
Well, people say the same thing about Bitcoin. It's like, oh, where's the killer app? And people are waiting for hyper-Bitcoinization, and it may never come, you know? And
right,
I mean, Monero gets banned.
There's a reason, there's a potential that it doesn't come because you artificially do not allow it to come by having this small block size. Whereas it hasn't come on BSV, not because of technical capabilities, but it's more like the innovators, the entrepreneurs haven't found a use case yet.
If you have an infinite block size,
but we know the
you have
path
all
now.
the same problems that I discussed earlier. But back to the banning thing. I mean, Monero gets banned on all kinds of exchanges. Why is that price not falling? Monero has been outperforming Bitcoin for the past year.
That's a good point.
So what the arguments are just they're not valid. They're really just, I mean, the free market's going to decide it. It doesn't matter how we can talk for 10 hours on the subject.
Agree.
The free market's going to put it all to rest in the end. And I know that as BSV is probably not going to end up on top.
Let's let Anon Shop jump in here. Originally, it was supposed to be a Q&A with Anon Shop, but we had Raphael, and we just let the convo go.
I'll let you guys go back to it.
Which is all good. No worries, man. No worries. Just stick around. We're flowing wherever the convo goes. Cryptoverse, I was just checking out your profile. Looks like you're actually in Mexico City. Are you coming down to Monerotopia? It's like around your block.
Only if you buy my green coffee bean NFT.
If I do what?
There we go. If you buy my green coffee beans NFTs, because on BSV you can buy and sell NFTs, which is basically what Raphael was talking about.
Okay.
On our chain, you can buy and sell digital goods. Okay, no matter how those digital goods look like. You can also do physical goods, but I wouldn't advise that until we get to 2 trillion. And yeah. Anarchapulco, I would like to. Yeah, maybe.
No, Anarchapulco is like this week. Yeah, Monerotopia is in May, but it's going to be in Mexico City. That's what I was asking. I saw you live in Mexico City. That's why.
Yeah, if there is something in Mexico City, I would gladly go. Somebody would have to DM me the.
Yeah, I put the link is in the nest. You can see it right there. It's
okay.
Be a Monero conference. Yeah, Raphael will be there. Aon, who's just he's going to be giving a talk there. Many others. Obviously Monero focus, but we'll be talking about all sorts of subjects, I'm sure.
Sure. If it is in Mexico City, sure.
Sounds good, man. Anon Shop, take it away, man. You got anything to chime in here?
Specifically about my service or ordinals or block scaling. Where do you want to go? What's good?
If you want to throw in some commentary based on what you heard, kind of this talk about what is Bitcoin, and BSV commentary. If there's any response there, go ahead and you can chime in.
Well, yeah. I'm just gonna act as a marriage counselor in ways. I feel like the issue with Bitcoin is that there's no agreement on what Bitcoin is. So I feel like this ordinal issue sort of brings that to the surface, which has been bubbling up, since big blocks versus small blocks versus digital cash versus gold. So that's just why I love Monero so much, because there's such a clear idea of what Monero does. Like, Monero is digital cash that's private. And I think this debate with Bitcoin is, I mean, it's a very complicated debate, just depending upon what you want Bitcoin to be, honestly. So I see both sides have some merit, So I guess all I have to say about that specific issue.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Anybody have any questions for Anon Shop with regards to Anon Shop and what they're doing and services they're offering? Feel free to ask a question about that.
Shoot away. Ask me anything.
You guys could request if you want to ask a question. Let me jump back to Aon for a sec. Aon, what is your talk going to be on in Monerotopia?
State-sponsored 51% attacks and how to mitigate and the risks and the benefits that Monero offers in comparison to other chains. Simply because it is the UTXO set's completely anonymous.
Ooh, that's really interesting. How do you feel about selfish miner attacks? Do you think a state's more likely to do a selfish mining attack or more of a 51% attack?
I just think it's more likely that they'll, regulate and license miners in their jurisdiction to enforce blacklists. And with transparent chains, you could pick and choose. Miners can still make fees off of the whitelisted transactions, and they'll be happy to do that and happy to not be rated by, some government agency. And the black market miners are going to have a hard time because, one, you need enough black market transactions and fees to overcome that state attack, and two, you got to have the risk of breaking the law, and not everyone is up for that. And then with Monero, you have to censor everything. There's no picking and choosing, and so it's much harder to enforce because either the miner makes no fees, or just the attack vector is not as. The one caveat that I see is the tail emissions, because block subsidy is pretty much a free reward for even a 51% attacker, because the fee market is really the main deciding factor in terms of 51% attacks.
Oh, could the state possibly censor Monero by saying you can only mine, we will only mine transactions that, for example, have the name and social or serial number in the transaction, like extra info, since the actual amounts are hidden. But can I say, unless you put this transaction data in your transaction, we won't mine your block? Would that be a valid path?
Can you put arbitrary data in a Monero transactions? Like, could I paste my view key with my transaction? I don't even know if that's possible.
Oh yeah, you can use a transaction ID. There's been some talk about getting that feature removed, obviously for various reasons, but it's still currently in the code base.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's possible. I mean, but also I feel like it's much harder to locate Monero miners, and they'd be much more distributed and more willing to break the law because it's already kind of known as black market money.
I know the work that Howard Chu did with the random X miner really helps out Monero. It's beautiful idea.
Yeah, I equate it to, everyone having a CPU is the same as like having gun ownership. You can't really attack a country that has open and free gun laws because you never know where there is one, and you never know where there's a CPU.
Oh, I look forward to your talk. Sorry, I don't want to, make you spill the beans here, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks.
Hey, what do you think about ordinals and inscriptions and the fact, like, we're already seeing controversial things being put on, saved permanently into the Bitcoin blockchain? Do you think that could potentially lead to some kind of state issued censorship where miners are mandated to do things? I mean, what if valuable state information is stored on the Bitcoin blockchain? I mean, just theoretically, like, how do you see those things playing out?
Yeah, I'd say the more adversarial the better, because the sooner the state shows its hand, the more likely it is for the hash rate to get distributed. And yeah, I mean, JPEGs are cool, but I think it's a great use case, you know, for like Edward Snowden or people like Chelsea Manning are trying to whistleblow and don't really have an avenue to do it. Now you can just throw it on Bitcoin blockchain, and
Exactly.
so JPEGs are nice, but it's also you know, anything you can fit in a block you can put on there. And so I think the more adversarial, the better.
But ultimately, what do you see that leading to? I mean, do you think states will take action and then try to, you know, force censorship in through the Bitcoin mining ecosystem?
If they're smart, they'll wait until mining keeps getting more and more centralized, and then it's kind of like a reverse Trojan horse, where now like 80% of the mining is in, you know, not right now, but in some theoretical time where they choose to strike, they wait for majority mining to be in like Europe, US, Canada, Australia, all these countries that are already allied and aligned, and then they drop the hammer, and then we're screwed because mining has become so centralized that there's not enough distributed mining. The only thing that really protects a proof of work network, other than breaking proof of most work chain, is distributed hash rate and people willing to break the law. It's those two things that really keep the network secure. I mean, you can go the BSV route and say orphan this block and post it on Twitter and say the honest chain is this chain. You need to orphan this chain and go. But then you've broken proof of work. You've completely gone back to, you know, social coordination, which is what we're trying to get away from, because humans, you know, have biases, and proof of work works because it's objective. It's an objective variable that you can follow based on the amount of work done.
Oh, I have another question for you, Anon. I know, given your expertise around mining and censorship, do you think that it's even possible to have a censorship or free cryptocurrency that relies on ASICs, or do you think it's too late for that, or what's your opinions on that issue?
I mean, it depends how soon, I mean, how broadly ASICs are available, because again, you can just make ASICs, you know, a regulated item like they were trying to do with cryptography in the 90s. They were trying to make cryptography a munition, and if you used it or, you know, sent it somewhere, you could be tried with like exporting munitions to state enemies, you know, of the state. But if we get to the point where you can, you know, 3D print integrated circuits and people are designing their own chips and 3D printing them, it's definitely possible that ASICs could work. And I'm glad that we have Monero as, you know, kind of the opposite side of it, where CPUs are so abundant. But ASICs aren't the best choice because, again, and now that you need, you know, 220 volt or whatever to even run an ASIC, most people can't run it at their own house. So it's definitely not a plus, but I don't see it meaning like complete failure. It's just more risky.
I'm so excited for your talk of Monerotopia, man. Oh, sorry, I keep asking you. I'm just so excited about it.
Thanks, man. Thanks for your shop idea too, because I used to use Purse, and then there was one that was before Purse. I forget the name of it, but it was a little bit more decentralized, and you could buy anything on there. You could just post a link. It wasn't just Amazon, and someone would pick it up, and then they send it to whatever name and address you send them. And it got shut down, but it was more of an open market like exchange where people just posted stuff and people picking stuff up. And your shop's awesome because, yeah, I've always thought like, well, I'll just use Amazon drop blockers and then it's completely anonymous. So keep on keeping on, man.
Thank you so much. Was it by any chance Brocker, if I'm saying it right?
Yeah, dude, it was Brocker.
Ah.
Oh, yeah. That place was awesome.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Anybody else want to jump up, say some words? Any questions for Anon or Aon? Anybody else? Guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up. Anon Shop, you have anything else you want to leave the audience with?
Oh, no. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great talking to you guys. Got a lot of colorful characters. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you in person at Monerotopia. And thank you so much for having me again, Doug.
Yeah, man. Great work with Anon Shop. I think you're doing a great job. Cryptoverse, go ahead, man. I see you raising your hand. Oh, did we lose him? Shep. I don't know what happened. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. Aon, you have anything you want to leave the crowd with?
Now, just looking forward to the conference.
Awesome, man.
Thanks for putting it together.
Of course. Super excited to have you. Thanks for reaching out and asking to be a speaker. Very much looking forward to your talk. Thank you, everybody. We're going to wrap it up. Just to chill it a bit, Monerotopia.com. Conferences in Mexico City in May. Starts on Cinco de Mayo. Is the welcome party, and then 2 days of full days of conference, 6th and 7th. So jump on, buy your tickets. It's $100 for a general admission. If you're local, we're only charging you $25 to people that live like locally in Mexico. We want to get locals out there, and that's it, man. Everybody have a great day. We'll see you next week. Cheers. Adios.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube and Odyssey, or listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or join us in the Monerotopia Telegram group. See you all next week.